Good morning, indoor and arena football fans, and all the people who are joining us this morning. We really appreciate you coming out on this bright and early morning. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about today, including news from the NAL, the IFL, the TAL, and the AF1, all coming out this week. It's been a busy week for the news cycle, so looking forward to getting into it today. As always, we ask that you jump over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. We just crossed over 2,600. We're looking for 3,000 before the end of September. Would be great. It would be stupendous. So if you could jump over and hit that button, it's completely free to do. Also, check out the description on any of the major platforms. And we have 3 different sponsors that are hugely important to what we do here at Shady Sports Network. So if you could go check them out, use our codes, let them know that we sent you. That would be great as well. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and play the intro video and get right into it. Man, that music will wake you right up. So we're here once again with my trusty co-hosts, TJ Bartholomew and Krish Vyas. How you guys doing this morning?
Excited.
I like it. Short, sweet, to the point. And honestly, that's a good point, a good way to put it, because like I said, there's a lot to talk about today. We've got the announcement of the Chupacabras. We've got the announcement of the Kentucky Barrels. We've got the announcement that the Tyler Crude had to push back their announcement. So we got a lot to discuss today. And I was originally saying we were going to start on TAL because our first guest is TAL. But do you guys still want to start with the sale of Hot Springs?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sounds good. So this past week, it was announced that the Dells Corporation proudly announced the acquisition of the Hot Springs Wise Guys, a team that in just its very first season captured the hearts of fans across Arkansas and beyond. Against all odds, these men stormed into the Arena League, battled with courage, and rose all the way to the championship game, proving that greatness is not measured by years, but by heart, sacrifice, and resilience. Guided by the vision of Tim Brown, the Arena League commissioner, NFL Hall of Famer and Heisman Trophy winner, this league was created to be a true developmental pipeline to the NFL and the new frontier for professional sports. Featured on ESPN and watched by fans nationwide, the Arena League is opening doors for players to take the next step in their careers and giving Arkansas a stage unlike any before. And at the heart of it all, Hot Springs, a city with grit, history, and pride, will now be the home to one of the league's brightest franchises. For us, this is more than ownership. It is a commitment to this community, a belief in Arkansas athletes, and a vision to make our state a centerpiece in the story of America's game. This is not just the acquisition of a team. This is the birth of a legacy, a promise that Arkansas will no longer stand in the shadows of bigger markets, but rise as a shining face of professional football. We are committed to nurture these athletes, to inspire communities, and to engrave Arkansas into the future of pro sports. I don't know about you guys, but I literally got chills reading that. It definitely feels like they care very heavily about the community, which is what this league's all about, right? So what are your guys' thoughts on the acquisition by the Dells Corporation? Let's go to TJ first.
I think it's awesome for the team, obviously, in itself, but also for the league. They're getting outside ownership in, just like they planned by the end of year 2, start of year 3. It's and the Wise Guys. I mean, first year franchise, they went all the way to the championship game. They fell a little bit short in the championship, but they definitely made their mark. And I think this is only going to strengthen not only the team but the league. And once again, it's looking like the Arena League is really just has everything together in the right way. And so far, everything's going according to plan, at least from the outside looking in. So I just thumbs up, man. It's really good news for both the Hot Springs and the league.
Strongly agree. Krish, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think that's the model of the TAL, right? They put franchises in cities and they help build them up for over a year or more. And in this case, they did it in a year. They picked the perfect market in Hot Springs. I've been high on Hot Springs since they've joined the league. I think it's a great place to have a team. Their attendance is flawless. And I think that's only going to continue to grow with local ownership now stepping in. So this is good for the league. It's good for the team more so because if anything happens to the league long term, this gives the team flexibility to stay around. I can't say the same about Eau Claire, a franchise, who've had issues this past year. Without the league support, would they be able to function? So that's the big question.
On the note of Eau Claire, I'm kind of curious about your guys' thoughts. Obviously, in that situation, it was a little bit different. They seemingly had ownership group from the very beginning in Eau Claire, and then things kind of went sour really quickly. The league had to take ownership of the team, which obviously this is another reason. That's another reason why this acquisition of Hot Springs is a good thing for the league. They now have one less team to operate from the league funding. But with that in mind, I mean, do you think that they need to kind of modify their approach a little bit and actually make owners maybe work the team or contribute to the team in some way, or potential owners work with the team for a year before they join, to avoid some of the issues that they had with Eau Claire? What do you think, Krish?
It would be a good model, right? I mean, if you look at Eau Claire, they had Tay as the head coach, right? And Tay's a young guy, and so he's gonna want to go get the best players. You know what I mean? And so to know, okay, I have this support from my ownership group, but I don't. It's like crucial, right? So I agree. I definitely think they should work with, the owners before they join the league. But the thing is, like Duluth, for example, is an outlier, right? Duluth's owner owns the arena, so or he owns part of the arena, right? So that's a situation where I don't think he needs anyone's help. I think he can just step right in and run the team fine. But I think it's situation to situation based, honestly.
Fair point. TJ, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's any issues with the TAL vetting process after Eau Claire's situation this season?
Uh, I mean, so far that's kind of been like the outlier, in my opinion. Uh, I mean, would giving ownership a trial run or getting accustomed to the league for, a whole season prior to full ownership, I mean, yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know how many ownership groups would want to go through those hoops, but then again, hey, if you want to own a pro franchise, you got to do what you got to do. It would almost be similar to what the old AFL used to do, where they would bring in owners, let them be part owners somewhere else before giving them full ownership of a team. And for the most part, that seemed to work out for them. So I could see, the Arena League doing something like that in the future moving forward. But so far, luckily, that seems to be a one-off. So I honestly, I wouldn't mind either way. I just want things to keep going forward for really every league. You know what I mean? So if that's the decision that the Arena League chooses to go, I would probably be for it, just because it would guarantee, more of a solidifying factor for ownership.
That's kind of my thought process. Not that it necessarily is, a lack of knowledge or anything. It just shows a little bit of commitment. It's similar to the IFL run up to and launching a new team. They typically have about a year's time of promotion before they ever even, have to pay for a player to take a snap. And I think that's a really good way to set teams up for success, because you look at Fisher's Freight this past season, and they had, I think I want to say over 500 season tickets sold before last season even ended, if I remember correctly. Now, don't quote me on that. You can go back and listen to our interview with Joe Zolo last season. He talked about the amount of success that they had with the season tickets up front. So I think there's value to that thought process. Now, it'd be a little bit different because obviously in this scenario, they're working with the team. They're not necessarily owning the team, and they're not necessarily getting a year of run up before that team launches. But I think showing that commitment would be a good idea, but then also it gives them a good idea, or it gives them the full picture of what they're walking into as an ownership group. You open up the books, you tell them, look, this is exactly what it costs. This is the exact way to run a team. You have to worry about these factors along the way. And then they have a complete roadmap to success before they step into ownership. So maybe that's something to look into in the future. I know, again, like you guys said, this one was a little bit of an outlier. So hopefully it stays that way and we can kind of move forward into the future without many issues. But regardless, I think this is a big move for the league to bring in the Dells Corporation. I think with the local ties that they have there in Hot Springs, it's going to be a worthwhile partnership that helps grow this league and grows that team in the community. And if it can become a stalwart, then this league's in a great shape, especially if they can keep teams like Duluth and Ozarks around for the long haul. But anything else that I may have missed on the TL side of things that we want to discuss before Tony comes on, or Coach O'Neill comes on? Krish, you got anything?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about who you guys think might step in for Eau Claire for the head coaching role since Tay stepped down.
He actually announced that?
Well, he alluded to it. He said like chapter closed on his Facebook. So, I mean,
that might just be because of the season ending. But I mean, if they truly need a new coach, that's, in my opinion, a big step backward for them. Tay was a local guy from Wisconsin area. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I think that would be a pretty big loss for them. Not saying that they can't find somebody else. There's plenty of coaches out there that would probably take that job in a heartbeat. But I would think that's some fairly big news, to have to look for another coach in just a season's time.
I agree.
TJ, what do you think, man?
I agree, man. It would be a huge loss. I could see them. I mean, they would almost have to go after another veteran coach in the game. I don't really see them getting a younger, newer guy, if that again is all the case. But I don't want to comment too much on it. I want more clarification on the situation first, other than
he definitely not.
They could have a few different people.
He posted on Instagram, new team, new city, new press conference, like coming soon. So he's definitely not coming back. I'm telling you, like, he's not coming back. He's done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that opens up the speculation. Where do we think he's going? There's not many jobs open right now. I mean, outside of potential expansion teams that are announced in the near future. So, I mean, where would you guys see him landing?
I mean, I've been saying this since day one. I think Tay is headed to Pueblo with the Punishers, just because of the relationship with Lisa in past organizations. I mean, they worked together twice, right? So, with the Outlaws and another franchise before, Spartans. So I think he'll be back. I think Tay will be with Pueblo. But I think it's going to be interesting where he lands. And I want to see how he developed as a coach, because this year in Eau Claire, he's called offense and defense. The offense ranked last in the league. And I think he's more of a defensive-minded coach. So I think he needs to go out and get an offensive play caller. And so I'm interested to see now he's back in the indoor style, a style he's comfortable with. He wasn't comfortable with the TL style, right? So now he's back in a style he's comfortable with. And, it's interesting to see how he does in Pueblo.
That's actually a great point. He's a longtime NAL IFL coach. So, he's primarily coached in that let me back up a step. NAL and CIF, or IFL and CIF coach. When he was with Billings, they were still in the CIF. And then prior to that, he was in the IFL for many years. He has some experience in the arena game, but he's definitely more of an indoor coach. So you have a great point on that. The prior relationship with him and Lisa makes a lot of sense why, she would look his direction. Now, that opens up another question for you guys. If Tay is the head coach of Pueblo, and, essentially that's a 1 year run up to him getting elevated, quote unquote, coming out of the TAL as a head coach. Do you guys think that the TAL should consider that a success if that is in fact what happens, and look at this as an opportunity for them to potentially develop and move up a coach? Or is this something that they just don't even acknowledge as an elevation, quote unquote, and they just kind of move on with the new coach?
No, I mean, I love Tay. I know you think Tay the second coming of Herm Edwards, right? But I think Tay's a great young coach in this game. But at the end of the day, like, my boy went 1-6. I mean, and so if I'm the TAL, I'm upset. Even if he leaves, he's local. He could have built something in Eau Claire, but he's leaving now. So I'm upset at ownership, management, whoever decided, or if it was his mutual or whatever. Like, I'm not happy with it. I'm not going to acknowledge anything that he elevated.
Okay, fair enough. TJ, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I hate to throw shade, but I feel like maybe if it was like the IFL, they would acknowledge it. But both the NAL and AF1, they're in my opinion, they're probably only about a half step above the Arena League. So I kind of see it as kind of like a somewhat lateral move. If it was the IFL, I could see them promoting that. Uh, obviously, if he got into college or something like that, they would definitely promote it. But I since it's more of a lateral move, I can kind of see them just maybe mentioning it on the side or just kind of letting it go and just moving on with it because it's the NAL. But again, if it was the IFL, which we consider the NFL of indoor and arena football, I could definitely see them promoting it more. But in this case, they'll probably just let it go.
Somewhere in his man cave, Todd Tryon is laughing a maniacal, evil scientist laugh after you just said that it was the NFL of indoor football. And hopefully he's watching. So if you are watching,
I'm working for a free membership next year.
Yeah, we would love to have you back on, assuming we can do that sometime. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things to think about when it comes to that situation. I personally think if it was me and I was the TAL, I would be trumpeting that as a success. Anytime you can take in a young first-time head coach and then he goes on to garner more recognition from leagues that are more established, regardless of how you want to look at him as a half step up or a full step up or whatever, which I completely understand and agree with, by the way. But I think it's a positive. You want to sell it as a positive, not as a situation where the head coach decided to leave because the situation in Eau Claire was this or that. You want to look at it as, no, he just got a better opportunity with somebody he knows really well.
But that's the thing, like, I went back and I did my, postseason evaluation for them. I went back and I watched all their games. Like, he had players on the team. It's not like he was playing with a bunch of semi-pro guys. I mean, Patrick McSweeney, tight end, he was in camp with the Jets. You know what I mean? Like Boone Williams, a starting SEC running back for Kentucky. Donovan Ford, D3 All-American. Like, he had ballers on that team. So it's not like he, you know what I mean? Like, if he built something and they had nothing, right, that would be okay. That's an elevation. But for me, it's like you had players on the team, so.
And I get your point to a certain extent, but think about it like the UFL and the NFL, right? Sometimes there are players that have signed that did almost nothing in the league, right? But at the end of the day, they fit a skill set or an experience level or whatever it may be, or they have connections to the coaching staff or whatever it is. The UFL still parades that as a signing because at the end of the day, it's a good thing. Even if that guy turns around and gets cut literally a day later, they keep that in their count, right? And, we know this because if you go look at the UFL to NFL tracker on the website, we keep a record of when these guys are released. And some of them literally only lasted a day on the team and they're still counted. So I'm just saying it's a good way to spin it as a good thing, not necessarily, oh, we're heading into season 2 and we already need a new head coach because he decided to leave. It's a situation where, hey, he came in, people saw what he did with limited resources, whether it was successful or not, and now he's getting opportunities elsewhere. But that's just my view on it. Obviously, a lot of these leagues don't like to really acknowledge each other or look at it as a good thing or a bad thing when somebody leaves for the other league. And I think maybe we should change that a little bit, especially with the TAL. As of right now, they still have quite a bit of work to do to get to the point where they're considered on the same level as an IFL or NAL or AF1 at this point. What if they were parting ways with him? They won't spin it as a positive. He was 1-6. Hey, I'm just saying, if I was the one running the league media, I would be the one. I would definitely be out there trumpeting, "Hey, look at our coach that just got an opportunity with a higher league." But I'm just the media guy. Anyway, any other thoughts on the TAL before we move on? Any word on Coach O'Neill, by the way?
Oh yeah, he should be coming on soon. But no, I wanted to ask you guys one question about Bones. Do you guys think Bones comes back in Hot Springs? Or?
I don't know. That depends. Is Toby Johnson already the head coach of Massachusetts?
All right, yeah. Let's move on, man. Let's move on.
I thought Mike Dickey was taking that job.
I mean, no disrespect when I say that. I think if you're Massachusetts, you have to strongly consider, hiring Bones. And I honestly, personally don't think it's a bad thing if you're hiring in-house candidates. We obviously know there's going to be a little bit of a negative connotation there, but at the same time, I think that it would be a good thing for either one of those coaches to get an opportunity, because like you and Coach Brandon are always talking about, they're young coaches getting an opportunity to move up in their careers, right? So that's a positive. And I know I've kind of, razzing you a little bit by saying that, but Bones Bagante in my mind is a very high level up and coming coach. He's been in the IFL before. So to me, it makes sense for a guy like him to make the jump back to be a head coach in the IFL, because now you have on paper what he can do in the TAL as a head coach. He already knows the IFL style of play. He's well regarded, well respected in the league. I think that would be a good move, honestly. But realistically, it would not shock me if any team in the IFL were to consider him as a potential head coach, or NAL for that matter. TJ, what about you, buddy?
I agree with everything you said. I mean, listen, we mess with Krish a lot in the chat, but at the end of the day, I mean, let's face it, the mantra is it's a temporary job. So, I mean, that's kind of the mantra that you have to go with and spin it. Hey, it's going to elevate you. It's going to be cool, everything else. But yeah, odds are after 1, maybe 2 years, and that's a big maybe, you're probably not going to be here anyway. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I've made it very obvious that I don't, I'm not a big fan of how they operate. So.
Yeah, that's very true. And honestly, I think that if you do bring in a guy like Toby Johnson, or you do bring in a guy like Bones Bagante, that's something that has to change, right? They're both young coaches, regardless of if they have veteran staffs around them or what it may be. You need to stick with the coach, let him build the program, develop long term. You sometimes, Massachusetts often has the best, most talented roster in the league on paper. But you need a guy who can bring that all together. And as soon as they find the right guy, they need to just stick with him and keep him there for the long run. And I'm sure Krish would agree on that. So, I mean, realistically, can you complain a ton about Massachusetts and how they operate? No, this is probably the one realm where we can really give them a hard time, because they do not stick with coaches. So it'll be interesting to see who they hire. It'll definitely be interesting to see how long they stick around, and hopefully Jawad kind of alters his views on coaching. But S2 says the NFL of indoor. Sounds like he's a little skeptical there, but I mean, I would love to hear your argument that any other league could potentially be the NFL of indoor currently. I love the AF1, love the NAL, love the TAL for various reasons, of course, but the IFL is the standard. If you needed a reminder,
it is, and it's standard across the board, number of teams. But I love my guys in the NAL. I love the NAL. I think they're doing a great job rebuilding the league. but have they finished the season? And we'll get to this later, but this is my one talking point. Have you finished when you put out your first version of your schedule? Have all the teams finished the season? No. They had 3 different schedules last year, and even all the teams still didn't finish the season, right? So we can only call the NAL a success this coming year if every team on the first version of the schedule finishes the season, right? That's the only way I can call it a success. That's the only way we're moving forward. If you look at the level of competition in the NAL, I love what they're doing in the NAL. I love the players. But how many of those guys can strap up and play in the IFL? How many? Really? Let's just be honest. What was Sam Hammond, right? Sam Hammond led the NAL in sacks. He was a rotational defensive lineman for Quad City. Rotational guy for Quad City. So I'm just saying, like, there's a little bit of a step in competition, right? So that's why it's great to have a team like Colorado, who we all know, like, they spend money on players. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for the league because it helps elevate the talent overall. I look at the NAL now and I say Shreveport. All I see is semi-pro guys in their future, right? You look at, West Texas. You look at the roster. I've been hard on them. A bunch of trash. That's all it is. And then we don't know what Dallas. We don't know what Dallas is going to do. We don't know who they're going to bring in. We know that owner owned a semi-pro team before, so maybe that's all he knows, right? That's what my concern is. I want it to be ultra competitive going into 2026. So we'll get into that a little bit too.
All right, so we got a couple comments rolling in. I'm going to roll through them real quick. Chris Dodson of Southern. Man, post your network name before I butcher it in the chat so I can pull it up. But Chris Dodson runs a sports network. If you're not familiar with him, go follow him on Facebook. I strongly recommend it. It says, Buenos Nachos. I agree. The IFL is the gold standard of arena. IFL is the gold standard. No shade on other leagues. Agree with Krish on that 100%. That's a fair point, says S2. Maybe it's based on where you live. I live in Georgia. AF1 is more popular somehow, which is weird because you've got Columbus there. You would think that they would, drag in some interest there. But the TAL is next based on popularity here. That's very strange. You guys are a little ways away from the TAL, but I guess it stands apart. Coach Negron chiming in says, we want all the teams to finish 2. It's going to happen in 2026. The vetting process improvement will ensure that. Chris Dodson, Southern Sports Network. That's what I thought. I just didn't want to misspeak. I thought that sounded incorrect for some reason. S2, you're right. Need to be competitive. So yeah, any other thoughts on that before we move on?
And again, and it's not a shot at anyone. I respect, everyone. But you got to look at what talent is. You got to evaluate talent. And, for me, like, I'm going to give you an example. When we'll talk about NAL, I already know who's winning MVP next year. I already know if he comes back, who's winning MVP. And that level of talent is so different. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's just my thought. I hope every team finishes the season. That's always the goal. That's also been the goal for the last 3 years, and it has happened. So let's make this the year it happens. Because then if that happens, that would be a great look for the league going forward, for sure.
100%. And I would strongly suggest that that's their goal. Obviously, Coach Negron just voiced it now. That's what they want to happen. But Coach B.
That is the one thing left, too, that they need to solidify the turnaround.
Yeah.
And have a full season without any major hiccups.
Yeah, I would agree. That would go a long way toward building some goodwill with fans and preventing fans from looking at the NAL as a lower tier than they really should, realistically. We talked about it a lot last year, 2A, 2B, but as far as the AF1 and the NAL, but I feel like our views all would have changed really quickly if the NAL's teams had stuck around and the AF1 still had the issues they had this year. It would have been no brainer. It would have been 1, 2, 3. and NAL would have been right there as the number 2 league. Which, if short of improving some of the quality of the teams, the look, the feel of the fields, the broadcast, stuff like that, I think the NAL is trending in the right direction in terms of becoming, a tier 1 indoor league, but they have to prove it over the next couple seasons. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. But Coach
Join a betting
B,
app.
yeah, that would help. That would help for sure. And I'm positive that is in the works. Positive. But Coach B, you recently had a preseason game for the Iowa Power. How'd it go for you guys?
It went well, more than what I expected. Little few kinks, got to get some stuff in order, but overall, I think it was a good thing, a good performance by my defense. Offense need to step it up a little bit. Special teams as well. So, but overall, I think our team did good. Got first game jitters out the way. Was able to hit somebody else than ourselves. We did have a mini scrimmage the week before against another team, but it wasn't really a good look. So I think we got a better look this week, and we were able to accomplish some things.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I watched definitely parts of that game. That quarterback you guys had playing looked like a heck of an athlete. So I'm excited to see him play in the regular season.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
Terrell Robinson,
Thank you.
A7 NFL legend, man. He's like the all-time leading passer in the
Very
A7.
nice.
Yeah, so
I love that. For the record, I love to see the A7FL guys getting opportunities at the pro level. I think there's a lot of talent in that league, a lot of guys that are slept on, and it's awesome to see them, really get the opportunity to move up and get an opportunity at the professional level. So,
yeah,
uh,
Trey actually played arena ball before. He played with the Horsemen, a few other teams, Las Vegas Kings. So he's been around, but AF7 he's won like 3 championships in a row. So he's been doing a good job. We got a young quarterback behind him who's coming along. 2 young quarterbacks actually. Can't keep both of them, but one of them we will keep after this week and go in fighting strong. I was just more impressed with the fan output. We had 1,125 people at the game. So
at a preseason game,
yep, I got the
that's
final
impressive.
count. When I got the
Right.
final count, I sent it to Chris. What was that Thursday? I told you, Chris, after I met with the arena. And I was shocked after they gave me the count, but it did. We see 3,000, so I think that was a pretty good turnout. We did have a lot of feedback from the community. Sunday and Monday, everybody's been talking about arena football. You got to realize Dubuque never had football before, so this is the professional team. So they really took in, and I think we have a better showing tonight at the game.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I honestly would love to see a professional league, like you guys have talked about with the UIFA, grow a fan base and be able to kind of fill in that lull that we have between like July and when some of those winter leagues start up. And yeah, we have the TAL at this point, but it's already over. So you guys picked like kind of the perfect window to start right after TAL season ends, right after the IFL championship, and then you jump into UIFA season, and then you have a full regular season with them. So, if you guys haven't been paying attention to the UIFA, strongly recommend you go follow them on social media. As Coach B has said in the past, they're trying to build the IFL in the fall season. So, looking forward to seeing how they grow up over the next couple of years as well. And just judging from what I saw on that game, the production value was fairly good. For the fact that this is a first year team, realistically, I was impressed. I thought it was good. So. For whatever it's worth, I would highly recommend go check out that game. It's on YouTube, completely free to watch, as all the games will be, correct?
Yes, sir. On our YouTube channel, the Iowa Power YouTube channel, we'll be on our Discord, Facebook. So we'll be on all platforms streaming right now, all our games. So tune
Very,
in. And we also pay our players for exhibitions. So they got paid yesterday. They get paid next Friday as well.
very nice. Love it. Love it. And then you said 2 preseason games and the regular season starts, right? So next week's the last preseason game?
Tonight's the last preseason game
Oh,
for
sorry
us.
about that.
And then we kick off the regular season September 6th against the St. Paul Bears.
Very nice. Very nice. That'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to this league. Like I said, love to have that little lull filled there. So, couple more comments. S2 says who. I'm not sure what that's referring to. If you could clarify, that'd be great. We'll answer the question. AF1 is still 2 to 3 years from being on a similar level as the IFL. How do you guys feel about this comment? Let's go to TJ first on this one.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
I
completely.
I
Yeah,
love
no.
I love the AF1, but I think it's more like 3 to 5.
That's
Five
fair.
to seven, 5 to 7 at least. I mean, look. I mean, come on, man. Like you gotta look at what the IFL is built. Look at organizations like I love my boy up in Oregon, but Oregon wouldn't make it in the IFL, like on the field and off the field at all. Like that setup wouldn't make it. So you have to look at how many organizations from the AF1 are comparable and could actually make it in the IFL standard, production, financially, and competitive wise, right? How many? Washington wouldn't make it, honestly. Oregon wouldn't make it, right? We don't know what Kentucky's setup is yet. So Nashville and Albany are like the two main ones I think of. And then the others are kind of just up in the air. Like we don't really know what to expect. So that's just my thing on it. It's like you can't say a league is 2 to 3 years from overtaking like the number one. That's like saying the CFL is like 2 to 3 years away from overtaking the NFL. Like that's just not comparable at all. Like it's that much of a gap in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not a slight to the AF1, but it's more showing respect to the IFL and the fact that the years and the amount of time that they've been around and the effort that they've been able to put in. It's just hard to compare that to the AF1, who is, 1 year asterisk, 2 years in. It's just they need a little bit more time to build up, but that's just the natural process, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real honest. You look at the IFL, this is what their 17th season, if I remember correctly, or 18th. You look at the other leagues around, this is what the 7th or 8th season for it might be the ninth or 10th season for the NAL. I believe they launched in 2017, if I remember correctly. AF1, technically, this is their first season heading into their second season. So I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, it should be expected that there's a large gap. I mean, they've been running 10 years longer than the closest competition. So, I would say that should be expected to somewhat, like you said, TJ, as well. Coach B, what are your thoughts? You kind of coached in the AFL last season. You've been around. You've experienced various other leagues. How far of the gap do you see?
I see about 2 to 3 years. I don't look at it like I look at it. AFL last year was the AF1. They just changed their name, kept the same league, same teams, added a few others, and a few other teams that they added were not sustainable organizations. Just like where we know Corpus Christi may not be coming back this year. They really the Kentucky team, but at the same time, where's the other teams? Only like Chris said, only stable organizations I really think there is Albany, Nashville, maybe Southwestern Salina, and I don't think they really want to stay because of the travel is looking like right now. IFL, when I first joined the IFL in 2010, we had 24 teams. I've never seen another league do that. 2011, we dropped two or three teams. We had 21 teams. So the IFL has always been sustainable and always gonna put out a good product. AF1, they still don't have everything. Titus and them still ain't got it together. He don't know what he's doing in Billings. You know what I'm saying? He shut down Billings. We don't know if he's gonna put it somewhere else. He gonna just be in the front office. It's a lot of up in the airs with the AF1. So I take that back 2 to 5 years to even catch up. NAL will be there before they will. And the NAL is right knocking on the door of the IFL. I think a few kinks and twists they can work out in the NAL. It'll be a sustainable product, add some more quality teams. IFL, only thing hurts them is the streaming. But like they got the betting too. Nobody else got the betting. That sets them apart from everybody.
Strongly
My
agree.
question is though, like everyone was criticizing the IFL network, right? Everyone was, saying the IFL network, man, it sucks, this, that, and the other. have we ever had an internet issue with the IFL network? I only can recall 1 to 2 internet issues the entire season for my IFL network. You know what I mean? Would I rather pay? I'd rather pay money, honestly, and I'll put this out there. I'd rather pay $10 a month to ensure that I can have a, you know, non-disruptive viewing experience than watch Shreveport live stream, like where you can't see anything, the players are blurry, you know. Or I mean, I like my guy Ricky, but I mean, Omaha's live stream has gotten better and better and better each year, right? But for me, I prefer to watch Colorado's live stream, right? Because their live stream, their audio is great, it's clear, you can see everything. Omaha is still the buffers, you know, it's like the internet is really bad in that arena. So I'd rather pay money for a good viewing experience. So there's no problem with the IFL network, in my opinion. And yes, the betting, DraftKings, yeah, that sets them over the top. But it's also that they sell out every arena. Not sell out, but there's a lot of good teams with great attendance in the IFL. That's what sets them apart. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Vegas is joining. San Diego's attendance went up. You know, Quad City has 4,000 to 5,000 people every game. They do a great job in that community, you know. So
Well, let's put a little context with some of those. You know, Quad City's been around for how long?
Yeah.
2 decades at this point. Same thing with Green Bay. They've been around since the AF2 days. You know, you talk about Vegas, they're the outlier there. They're brand new. San Diego, same thing. They've been around for, I want to say, 5 seasons now. So, I mean, you know, I have a hard time necessarily saying attendance is a huge difference, but you're right. They do a really good job of drawing fans. And I think that has a lot to do with the product that's on the field. It's cleaner, it's crisper, it's, you know, faster a little bit on certain aspects. And I would say, despite Kevin Guy's recent rant, the referees are probably a little bit better in the IFL than other leagues, to be fair. So
definitely. And but you can't with Quad Cities though. They got an unfair advantage to any other team in the IFL. They've been here a long time, and they have 4 cities within 5 miles of each other. So they got 4 cities coming to one game. When I went to that game 2 weeks ago, it was electrifying. It wasn't a not good seat in the arena. Everywhere you went in the arena was a good seat. The game day production was on point. That's another thing. Game day production in the IFL is a little bit better than all the other leagues. Just being honest. And I saw the comment Ricky said the TAL. Just me being on the inside of the TAL, Ricky, being honest, we have a lot more problems than I had when I was in the AFL. It just get covered up real good in the TAL. When you got a league that owns majority of the teams, is now they don't, but at first they did. Like look what happened in Eclair. They didn't even have uniforms for the last game, so we couldn't stream the games because they didn't have the proper uniforms. So when it comes down to stuff like that, we still got problems with money issues on certain teams. So I love the TAL. They do a good streaming and all that, but they sugarcoat it on the outside a lot.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We've definitely saw the posts about the New York Dragons uniforms being used at the end of the season for Eau Claire, and definitely have gotten confirmation that was accurate. So I mean that is some things that need to be fixed, but I will say that Ricky has a point. Every single game that was scheduled was played for 2 seasons straight, and only one other league can say that realistically, and that's the IFL. So when you look at it that way, and it's coming from Ricky's mouth, which is surprising, obviously, because we all know that he's Team NAL. You know, I have a hard time arguing with it. You know, they definitely do deserve credit for that being able to happen. And more importantly, they kept all 4 original teams. They added 2 teams. They had no teams fold or disappear or anything like that. Yes, they've had ownership issues. We talked about that earlier. But at the same time, overall, the TAL has been, from an outsider's perspective, has done a really good job of presenting a professional image. And that goes a long way, I would say.
The platforms too that they use, the streaming platforms are pretty good. Some arenas, just like you said, sometimes you can't help it, Chris. Some arenas just have bad reception, bad stuff. Some are older arenas who it costs money to upgrade this stuff, and that's not on the team or the league. Sometimes the city owns a lot of these arenas and just don't have the funding to upgrade. So you got to be mindful when you saying, "Oh, the production sucks." If they in an arena who's been here since 1952, it's kind of hard to upgrade your system.
But isn't that one of the key pillars when you go and purchase a team or bring a team to a market? Is the production quality? Isn't that one of the key pillars? Like, wouldn't you, if I'm buying a team and I'm talking to a league, I feel like that's the second thing that they look for in the IFL.
You have to have a home arena, though.
You got to have a home arena.
Yeah,
Don't matter. But so if you don't have a home arena, you can't play football. Period. So some arenas you just got to get the deal done and to be able to have a place to play. It ain't about production when you got to you got to put a field on the product first, the product on the field first. So at the end of the day, you got to have an arena where fans can come to and call home. You got to have a team. You got to have sponsors. So at the end of the day, that's not on the city. If the arena's been there for a long time, we hoping the city get grants or funding to upgrade it. But long as we have all our games and we have no hiccups at the arena, that's what we sign up for when we start a new team.
I think there's also the ability to eventually move up, but you have to build that foundation first. So, I think a perfect example is like Omaha. I mean, just because we're already talking about them, you look at Omaha and they damn near sell out their arena like almost every game, and they have a smaller arena. And Ricky's been very adamant about the fact that he doesn't see a need to upgrade yet because he's not at that point. So he's building the foundation. He's focusing on that foundation. So when he goes into a bigger arena that's got hopefully better amenities like better Wi-Fi and stuff like that, then he knows he can support that attendance wise. So I personally think that's a really smart way about going about the business. You just find an arena that works financially and kind of work around some of the issues. Now, obviously, ideally speaking, yes, you want an arena that's got all of the amenities that you need to run a team day one. Realistically speaking, you only have so many options for arenas in some of these markets. So, you kind of have to work with what you get.
I agree. I like what Coach McGraw is saying. Yep. I like it. But when I go back to us, when we moved the team from Worcester to Lowell, a big reason why Jawad decided to pick Lowell was the streaming costs, right? Lowell was providing us production to stream games at a high quality. And at the DCU Center, we had to pay an outside production company to come in and film games. So production is a big part of the IFL. And that's one of the things Jawad worked with the IFL on when he picked the new market, right?
Every arena doesn't offer that, though. So at the end of the day, production is mostly on the team sometimes. So you got to work with what the arena give you, because every arena don't offer to pay for your production or your streaming. So y'all got a rare deal right there, and I'm just being honest.
Would highly recommend on that or agree on that. Ricky says having a successful team builds the revenue streams for the arena to help with facility upgrades. They're oftentimes tied together. That's a great point. If you're bringing in consistent revenue for that arena, it's going to help build it up over time as well. So there are bonuses to sticking with an older arena like that. But we have a guest waiting in the background, and I have not hit a commercial. We've already been on here for 45 minutes. So we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back with our first guest of the morning, Mr. Julius Gregory.
easy. Get out your own way. It's just so easy.
There was supposed to be some music with that, but apparently I uploaded the wrong one. How's it going, Mr. Gregory? How are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm excited to speak to you. I don't think I've actually had you on, or we haven't had you on since you started your coaching career.
Nah, you haven't.
I was gonna say last time you were on here was for as a player, wide receiver for Carolina. So
Yes,
we're
sir.
very glad to have you back and talk to you about the beginning of your coaching career. Krish, I'll let you kick this one off since you're the reason he's here.
Yeah, Coach, appreciate you coming on. My question for you is kind of, you're entering this free agency process, right? You probably have a lot of options. You could go down to Tucson with Billy Back. You could look for, a new Carolina team. Where are you at with everything? And when do you hope to make a decision by?
Well, I'm in the process of talking to a few teams. With all these expansion teams, coming in between the IFL and the NAL. Just trying to make the right decision and pick the right place where I can go and flourish and continue doing what I do.
For sure. And, you played in a bunch of these leagues. You played in NAL, AFL, right? You've seen this league, the AFL when it was at its peak, right?
Mhm.
What league do you think is the number one league competition-wise? I know you spent time in the NAL this season. How do you feel about the competition in the NAL compared to the IFL?
Honestly, I would say since I've been around so long, I would have to say the IFL right now is the most competitive. But it's not from a talent standpoint only. It's from a marketing standpoint. It's from a business standpoint. It's from the way they run the league. They don't lose teams really, so that's what will put them in the forefront. Now, don't get me wrong, the NAL is building up, is strong. I just feel like when it comes to the NAL or them smaller, arena league teams or arena leagues, they should focus on smaller markets. You shouldn't focus on markets that, maybe probably previously had a team because you never know what problems that them teams had left behind. So if you focus on smaller markets or smaller arenas where the teams can at least break even because it's hard to make a profit in this league. So if teams can at least break even, I feel like they'll be more prosperous and better sustain better league formats.
When you say break even, that's interesting to me. So, you were a veteran player, right, towards the end
Hmm.
of your career.
Right.
What incentives do you feel like teams can offer veteran players, maybe other than pay? Because I know break even is important to you. So, what can teams offer the players to kind of entice them to come over?
Honestly, man, what I used to do and what I feel is, feasible. You just got to get sponsors. Like I tell teams all the time, get a player sponsor to help play with to help with pair play. Get a coaches sponsor to help pay for coaches. Different sponsors can go for different things. As far as the money go or incentives, we had to say, it all depends on the person or the player. So I'm gonna take myself for instance. Towards the end of my career, it wasn't too much about the money because I had played for the money when we was making real money. So at that point, it wasn't even about the money. It was about being able to go out on my own terms. And it get to the point where now that teams aren't making the money that they supposed to make from the door because you got to take Carolina for instance. We played at the Greensboro Coliseum, and we had wonderful years there. But honestly, to tell the truth, we would never be able to fill that stadium. So when you paying for a stadium and you're renting the entire stadium for every seat that's in there, and you're only filling three quarters or not even a half of the arena, then you're gonna always be stuck in the negative. So I think that, like I said earlier, if you focus on smaller markets or you focus on different sponsors to focus on paying different stuff, then I feel like teams will break even or at least be able to, carry on for years to come instead of, having teams that come in 1 or 2 years or come in and then don't finish the season for financial reasons.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think a lot of people don't understand, and Julius could attest to this. If you don't sell tickets, you better sell. You better have a lot of sponsors. And if you
Facts.
ain't got a lot of sponsors, your owner better have a big bank account. And I think that separates a lot of teams from the IFL, NAL, TAL is ownership.
Hmm.
My question to you, Mr. Gregory, if you was had some guys coming in and they wanted to really, everybody want to go to the league.
Right.
What league would you tell them to join?
It depends on their skill set, honestly, man. I ain't gonna set nobody up for failure. Like it's steps to it, honestly. So that's what I want people to understand. Like it is arena ball, it is indoor, whether you want to go arena rules, indoor rules, or custom rules, it's still an adjustment process. Like it's not for everybody. I try to tell people all the time, being that I played 14, 15 seasons, I tell people, man, from a football standpoint, just strictly football alone, it's way more brutal on your body than the NFL, the CFL, any other of these leagues that's getting paid millions of dollars. It's way more demanding on your body for far as the field conditions. Underneath the field is straight cement, or behind the field you got cement, or you falling in the stands. So it's like from a wear and tear, it's like it's killing your body. So you only maximize what you can maximize out of it. So for me, when you look at it, you take it like, okay, how do I get the most out of what I'm presenting? So when you got guys that's coming in, they got certain talent levels, you try to place them where they can benefit to get to the next level. So if I got a guy that's coming from a D1 school, 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't recommend him for nothing less than the NAL or the IFL. You know what I'm saying? Because he has that football mindset. He knows what it is like to be able to manage time and still be able to get his work in. Now, a person straight off the street, or a guy who ain't played in maybe 10 since high school, then I'm gonna recommend you go to a developmental league so you can get your feet wet and at least learn the game and the format of what's going on.
I did want to ask you too. You were with the 2019 Cobras. I mean,
Hmm.
Jordan Jolly, right? Philip Barnett,
Oh yeah,
all
we
these
were
guys,
loaded.
loaded, right? Super talented. But then you played for the 2024 Cobras. Was
Hmm.
that hard for you motivationally? Maybe being around guys who might have had not the same skill set or motivation. How did you kind of get the troops all on one page, type deal?
Um, from a player standpoint, it was a little more challenging because we had more younger, not only players, but we had younger coaches too. So we had first year coaches, we had coaches that was trying to learn the game. But what made it good because you had veteran guys around like myself, Adam Smith, a couple of other guys like that just kept things together, that knew how things are supposed to be ran, who've been around the game itself for a long periods of time. So us plus ourselves, and then the grown with his amazing marketing techniques and motivational speeches kept us all together. But I think I would say 24 was more challenging for me because I didn't feel like I was able to play the way I wanted to play because I was kind of like in that coaching role. So I kind of was held back to make sure that the younger guys, was on par. So I would say the only thing from the 2024 season between 24 and 19 is I played more. Actually, I was actually more of a factor in 19 versus being used as a player coach in 24.
Love it. Um, Coach, I wanted to ask you about your time with the Carolina Predators. What was it like, kind of starting your coaching career with them?
Oh man, the Carolina Predators was actually fun. They actually got some good stuff going on right now that I'm still helping them with. Like I never left the Predators. I just, went to a higher league, and I
Yeah.
always kept in touch with Coach Bird and them guys down there, making sure they were doing what they were supposed to do. Um, Me and him actually in the process of talking about some stuff that actually bring the Predators, up to, a more dominant level. So I continue to work with the Predators, hands on, but just not so much in the structural aspect. But I always, kept my eyes on them, and me and Coach talked about different things, and they actually made it one game away from the championship. So I'm proud of them boys.
Yeah, they had a great season, and I personally am a huge fan of Ralph Bird and Coach Wood as well. We obviously do their show as well, so I've gotten to know both of those guys pretty well, and they seem like great people. I was curious, and obviously I know you talked about this a little bit ago about potentially, your potential landing spots, but I was curious, have you talked to Carolina at all about their offensive coordinator opening? Now
Who the
that,
Predators? Who the Predators?
yeah, now that Coach Bird's the head coach.
Man, we done dibbled and dabbled a little bit. We done dibbled and dabbled a little bit. Coach Bird on some thing on his only thing is if I do come in or come back, he has talked to me about possibly, calling plays or whatever. But he want to make sure that it's something that I fully want to do. When I was in Omaha last year, I had the title and I put in a lot of the offense, but I wasn't actually on the field calling the plays. So um, he kind of want me to, step into a more hands-on role and actually be the face of the offense. So right now it's sounding good, but we just got to make sure that, like I said earlier, that the situation makes the most sense for me and my family.
Makes sense. Makes sense. When I saw that move for Coach Bird to take over the head coaching spot, my immediate thought was you. Actually, I'm like, huh. I wonder what's going on with the
Oh
offensive
yeah,
coordinator
man.
position.
Me and Bird probably talk. Honestly, man, me and Bird probably talk 3, 4 times a week. What's the day? Saturday. I probably talked to him 6 times this week already. So Coach Bird, like I said, he one of those guys. Like I knew Coach Bird from afar when I was playing. So he was one of those guys that I always told if he ever needed my help with anything, just reach out to me. And he actually took, the process and reached out to me, and I appreciate it.
I will say
Yeah.
one thing that I've learned about him is that he's very open to suggestions.
Oh
He
yes,
he
sir.
will take all sorts of ideas, and he may not use them, but he will
Mhm.
100% hear you out. So I like that a lot, especially from his perspective when he's a coach and an owner. I think that goes a long way. But
Yeah, yes, sir.
um, anybody else got any questions for
Tell
Julius?
tell the Predators come on join the UIFA, man. Get their feet wet, step it up.
You said the
Uh,
UIFA?
yes, sir. Uh,
I
what you? My question is, what are other coaches out here? What are your key factors in considering a coaching spot, or what would you say is the ideal coaching spot for you or any coach when they trying to become a coach on the next level?
I mean the ideal coaching spot for me or any other coach that's trying to, come in on the coaching level, honestly, man, and this might sound funny, but honestly, you got to do what's best for you. I mean, me, and I'm speaking from personal experience. Personal experience for me, being around a lot of people who know you or you didn't play for or consider like family and friends. Like sometimes that's not the best situation to go into because they feel like they know you, so they kind of make decisions based off they knowing you. So for me, that's a major decision that I'm definitely looking into before I make my the next decision. Trying to go somewhere where I can create a name for myself, not so much going in under somebody who know me already, who figure they can manipulate or put their hands on how I'm gonna move in certain situations. So I'm trying to. I would say for coaches, go somewhere like I said that's first beneficial for you and your family. That makes sense. Second, make sure that what you're gonna be doing is what you're gonna be doing and keeping the main thing the main thing. And third, staying focused on the task at hand, no matter where it is. Being able to give 1,000% at no matter what you're doing, whether it's special teams, whether it's videos, whether it's marketing, just being accountable, being able to hold your end of the bargain.
I love that. That's a good message for anybody and everybody in any career or career path. Be accountable. You make a
Right.
mistake, just own up to it. Shit happens,
Facts.
for lack of a better term. So that's definitely one thing I strive for in my own personal life and all my endeavors. I would like to have a relationship with everybody that I work with that they understand if I make a mistake, I'm gonna own it. So I
Hmm.
think that's a good way to keep a good working
I did
relationship.
want to ask you, Coach. Obviously, Shaw University, your alma mater, just hired a new wide receiver coach, Daniel Bender. Who played over in the ELF, absolute stud, Jacksonville legend. When I wanted to ask you, did you apply for that opening for the receiver
I
position?
I definitely did. I definitely did apply. So I was in the talks with I think between Shaw and like 3 other schools at the time. And being Shaw being the alma mater, I definitely wanted to go back there. So the first coach I was talking to, we was in good communication. He was interested in bringing me in, but then he had a family issue, so he couldn't take the job. So when they brought in the new coach, I knew of him because I remember him being at Shaw throughout the years when I was gone, and Bender actually played for him. So If when it came down to it, I see that they had picked Bender over me, and actually it was more gratifying to me because it was somebody else that came in that I know for sure that was gonna make sure that the position group was gonna be taken care of. He was a former alumni, and he did his thing at Shaw too. So, um, it wasn't a slight. I actually like it better because now I get to go around the program a lot more. I was just up there with him like 2 days ago, so I actually get to go around the program a lot more and just be that alumni guy, that guy who won championships there, who be able to come back and tell the teams what it's going to take to win championships. Being that I won 3 out of 4 years when I was in college, so just being able to go back around my old teammates and old schoolmates and just be able to give back the lessons in life that I've learned that have taken me where I've been, that have won me the championships I have won, that have landed me the jobs I have won or have landed. It's just a blessing in disguise.
Man, I'm gonna put this out there, Coach. Man, I would love to see you land with the Colorado Spartans next year. I feel like you and Fred Shaw could run through teams in
Me and
that.
Checker Fred could do some things out there now. Me
Like,
and Checker Fred been knowing each other now. That's my guy. That's why I call him Checker Fred. Me and Checker Fred, man, been rocking since because we both played in the AFL together. So he was in Cleveland and I was with the Tampa Storm. So we got some we got some battles against each other, man. And me and Fred actually offered me to come play for him before this past season. But I had just got a new job, so I wasn't trying to leave at the time. But me and Fred good. But now that you say that, I think with what Fred brings to the table, tenacity, what I bring to the table as far as tenacity and knowledge of the game, we definitely can put some pressure on them boys in Omaha for sure.
speaking of your time in Omaha, TJ's a big Omaha fan. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Negron, right? Like, how has he developed you, and honestly, you developed him. You watched him as a first year coach. Now he's a, second year head coach. Where have you seen the biggest improvement in Coach Negron? You feel?
Honestly, man, I'm just glad he getting his due. Um, for those who think me and the grown got stuff going on, we good, man. Like there's nothing going on. We just at 2 point different times right now. He's been picked to lead a franchise that's that's headed by Ricky Burt's one of the, if not the greatest owner in indoor sports, like hands down. Like I've never met an owner who the team is his job. Most owners, got other things that they do, and the team is just something they do on the side. Like the team is his job. So from that standpoint, I'm just glad he got the opportunity to lead a great group of men. Now, from what I've seen from him as over the years, like as I came in when Coach Negron was just picked as, an assistant. So I've really watched him, put in the time, put in the work. Um, I watched him pick himself up, dust himself off. I watched his name been slandered. So like I said, I'm just glad that he's getting the opportunity to do what his passion and his dream is. Anything he need me for, he called me. I still talk to him to this day. We talked probably like 2 weeks ago about playbooks and stuff. So everything good, man. I just like I said, I just want him and CJ to continue to build off what we did last year. Um, and I would tell you, being in Omaha is championship or bust. Like it's no in between. So they got a sour taste in their mouth. So I know they're gonna come back this year with a vengeance. But it's just like I said, I'm just glad to see him get his a chance, an opportunity to really be the face and forefront of a great organization.
We have a great question in the chat that I wanted to pose to you, Coach. It says a question for the coaches. It looks like AF1, NAL, and even IFL could possibly still be expanding for the 2026 season. What time frame do you give yourselves to make a decision for your next job?
Well, honestly, the IFL still playing. They
Yep,
championship game, I think, is this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, or
tonight.
next weekend. Yeah, so I mean, you really can't make no decisions on where you want to go until you give everybody a fair shot on, talking to you, because you don't want to make a decision and then a better opportunity come, or you don't want to make a decision and you miss out on the opportunity. So just take it one day at a time, stay grounded. Like I said, stay where your feet are and make the best decision for your family and the best decision that makes the most sense. So I probably say, what's this? August, almost September. So realistically, I plan on making the decision around October. before the holidays, like before Thanksgiving, because I want to be able to go in, meet the staff, meet the ownership group, go out and meet people in the community, show face. I'm a big community guy, so anybody who know me know that I'm gonna be in the community. So I gotta go out and do my due diligence, do my homework on the area, stuff like that. So be looking for it around about October, November sometime. No rush.
Sounds good. Looking
I,
forward to seeing where you land.
I would say the same thing, Shady. When you're looking for a coaching job, it depends on the league, the right situation, like he said, and then you don't want to sign somewhere too early and a better opportunity comes open that fits you. So
Right.
when he said you got to go somewhere where it is kind of hard. You might want to join a staff where you know the coaches, but you might not be able to maximize all your talent under them because they think one way. Like I know I'm gonna use him for this, or he only good for this. It's kind
Right.
of yeah. So it's kind
And
of
it's
hard.
crazy that you say that, B, because like that's honestly what I ran into last year. Like with Negron knowing me so well as a player, and us having the relationship that we had, it's certain situations that he was trying to, I wouldn't say, hide me from, but it was certain situations that he was kind of keeping me away from. Like Negron ain't gonna let nobody, talk bad about me. So if something won't looking right, he didn't want me to be the forefront, and then we had to deal with all that. So I mean, it's a gift and a curse. Going places where you like I said, where you know people, because you know what I'm saying, they tend to think, oh well, we know how he think, or we know what he would do in certain situations. So that's why I said for me, this next choice would be I really want to go somewhere and start fresh. I want to go somewhere where I haven't played. I want to go somewhere where, I don't mind knowing a few people, but I don't really want to be on the staff with a whole bunch of guys that I know. I want to be able to go in and contribute my worth, to be able to show that I'm more than just what you think I am. I can promise you there's no coach in my age bracket or that's coming in that does more homework than me, that study more than me, that watch film more than me. So it's like I wake up every day and still as if I'm coaching or as if I'm playing, I still break down film when I'm watching NFL games or I'm watching
Mm.
college games. I'm breaking down film from a positional standpoint, from a coach's standpoint. First quarter, how many routes they done ran, how many plays you to call, how many different formations you done ran. So when it comes to coaching, I'm ready. I'm just ready for that opportunity to be able to really show what I bring to the table. Not saying that Negron held me back, because I would look at it from as if he was protecting me from a lot of the stuff that I probably haven't seen on a coaching level. But I'm ready, man. I'm so ready to show that the player me was just one thing. The coach me is completely different. So if you like me as a player, you're gonna love me as a coach.
I feel that. I feel that because you want to be able, like you said, to maximize what you can do, your capabilities.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and also when you're picking a team, Sam, you guys, I look at ownership. For me, having 2 years of bad ownership, I've had a year with good ownerships, but I had 2 years back to back with bad ownership. So you got to look at the ownership. No
And I
matter
just
if it's a new organization or not.
and I
What
just hit it from both angles as a player, as a coach. So it's like the ownership plays a major part, man. And like I said, if any, and this go for any teams that anybody that's listening up here, if you want to know how to successfully run your indoor organization, your arena organization, your upstart organization, just reach out to Ricky Burks. Like he'll talk to you and give you the ins and outs. He's not a guy who's gonna keep the information. He actually wants the indoor game to prosper. So reach out to Ricky, man, talk to him, pick his brain. Because, like I said, you're not gonna find too many other owners where they wake up and this is their job. Like Ricky,
you,
this is Ricky's job. Like I've seen it firsthand. Ricky at the arena 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. He's leaving 6:30, 7 o'clock in the afternoon. He's setting up events. He's at every team event pretty much. He's making sure he out talking to the people in the community. He's doing commercial events. He's going to talk to the small people in the community. Like he's just doing his part, man, as an owner. And I feel like as an owner, you just can't be one of those owners who just invest money. You have to get out and do the footwork because at the end of the day,
can't be a dictator.
nobody's gonna protect your investment like you would. So I always had a problem with why owners put 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 50K into something and just expect somebody else to run it or protect it as if you would. That makes no sense. So to all the future
And
owners out there or owners that's out there right now, Stop investing your money into a product and then not checking on your product. Make sure that your business is being ran effectively, because at the end of the day, when your business falls back, it's gonna fall back on you. It's not gonna fall back on your coaching staff. It's not gonna fall back on
Nobody
your
else.
players. It's gonna fall back on the person who signs the checks. So if you're the person who signs the checks, man, like I said, reach out to Ricky. Oh, he just commented too. Reach out to Ricky, man, and talk to him, bro. That's my guy. 100 grand.
One thing Ricky does, and I took a lot from his playbook when I was in Council Bluff. To any owner or coach or person who swear they want to run an arena team, you got to make this a full time thing. It got to be year round. You can't
And
just
part
come in.
time.
Yeah, you can't just have I'm gonna be in the office during the season only. No, and as an owner, your GM should be doing mid levels to big deals. But an owner, you should be doing all the corporate sponsorships and helping out you and the team president. That's your job. That's your baby. It only
Man,
go.
Ricky, man, Ricky got it so smooth, Coach B. Look, Ricky got it so smooth. Listen, all you got to do is go out there and set the meeting up, right? You come back to Ricky and say, "Hey, boy, I talked to such and such and such. They interested in doing it." By the time you leave the office, Ricky gonna already hand you a packet with their information on it, giving you 10 to 15 different options that they can choose from. That's what I'm talking about. Like
Hey,
that's being proactive. Like that's being I'm already got it ready. What would you say their name is? Okay, I'm gonna put it on the sheet and we gonna keep going.
and you see Ricky keep a brick and mortar,
Oh
so
yes,
you
sir.
know he gonna be there. You can always find him at the Omaha Beef office. And I ain't gonna lie, when I went to Council Bluff, my whole idea was to mock Ricky, mock what Albany doing, and it came. I'm just like you. I feel like my age bracket. It ain't the coach right now who's gonna out recruit me or out coach me, and that's proven.
If you in the indoor
That's
game and you're
proven what I
not
put
watching the
together with
Albany.
the Iowa Rampage.
Yes, sir. I remember that team too. That was cold.
Not
That was
not even
cold.
that. And what you said, Coach Dorsey in Kansas City. he he
Hmm.
he helped me grow. Me and him grew together as a coach, player personnel, because he said some things you rough around the edges, I'm gonna help you with. Some things I don't know how to do as a head coach, you help me with, and you build a foundation. You got to work with somebody that you love working with, who love the game. And I swear,
Facts.
you have to make sure everybody on your staff fully buys into your vision, the team vision, the brand. That's the only way the organization gonna work from the
Right.
top on down.
Because no individual is bigger than the brand, no matter who you are.
Definitely agree on that. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Julius. Really, really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing where you end up coaching in 2026, and wouldn't mind seeing you in Colorado. I heard the Shaw comment earlier. Would love to see you in Colorado. I'm from Colorado. If you end up there, I will definitely be seeing you in person at some Spartans games. So,
Yeah, I'm
regardless
definitely
of what
trying to get
happens
to
here,
Colorado. Definitely trying to get back to Colorado. Honestly, man, when we went there and played last year, it reminded me so much because a lot of people don't know that I was actually out there with the Broncos twice. So a
I
lot
did
of people
not know
don't
that.
know that. Yeah, I was actually out there with the Broncos. They flew me out for the first time for a workout. Second time I was actually about to sign with them, but then Aaron Decker had came off of the IR, so they didn't need an extra receiver. But I was this close to having a Super Bowl ring because the year that matter of fact, hold on, 14 was the year we lost to Seattle. Matter of fact,
Dang, that's crazy. That's
yep.
crazy. I did not know that at all. But
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, looking forward to seeing where you land. Any final questions for Coach Gregory before we get him out of here?
Good luck to see you, Deuce.
Hey man, appreciate you, Coach A. If y'all need me anytime, man, just for a fill in, anything, reach out to me. Chris, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I seen her pop, I seen it pop. I said, "Oh, I know this ain't Chris." Oh yeah, no matter anything you need, man, no matter what time it is, I'm here. So, like I said, I love what y'all doing. I always been a big fan. We need more platforms like this to give people a chance to come up here and express themselves and really talk and indulge into the game. So I appreciate everything y'all doing and don't stop doing what y'all doing. Love.
Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And don't stop doing what you're doing either. Something tells me you got a head coaching job in your future. So looking forward to seeing where you end up, man.
And if that happens, best believe y'all gonna be the first ones to get the first interview.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Hopefully you watch the IFL championship game and we can chat about that next week. But definitely looking forward to seeing where you land, and best of luck in your future, sir.
Appreciate y'all, man. Love.
Absolutely. Once again, Coach Julius Gregory, you can definitely follow him on Facebook. I believe he's on Instagram as well. But we're going to hit a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, and we will be back with two-time champion head coach Tony O'Neill of the Duluth Harbor Monsters.
Push yourself.
All right, we are back with back-to-back champion head coach Tony O'Neill. Coach O'Neill, congratulations on the big win. I'm sure you've got so many thoughts after that, but Krish, I'll let you kick us off with the questions here.
He lucky he got back from Miami, Chris. He still think he in Miami right now. I'm gonna let him live on this win right now.
No, man, I was in Colombia.
Oh, see,
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to get my. Yeah. Anyway, questions, please. Questions.
Yeah, Coach Tony, first of all, congratulations on the championship win. I picked you all the way back in last October, so I can hold my hat on that. But I was going to ask you, this is a big topic of discussion. Do you believe the Duluth Harbor Monsters, this current team, would be a playoff team in the IFL?
Listen, man, y'all not about to get me in no trouble on this platform today, man. Y'all not about to do that. So here's what I'll say, man. We respect the IFL. But we understand it's levels to it. I've already, for the last 2 seasons, been studying analytics of teams and know what their favorite coverages are and what they like to do. But we would have to break through some doors, obviously obtain an offensive line that would be sustainable. We have some pass rushers, but, most of our pass rushers, including our defensive tackle, are more defensive end types. Could they compete at the high level like that? Absolutely. Could our skill guys compete at a high level like that? Absolutely. Most of our guys are former IFL, AF1 guys. So without a doubt, we would be able to compete at that capacity. I just couldn't honestly answer that until we'd solidify a true offensive line.
Fair point. I mean, obviously, a little bit different gameplay in the TAL. So let's talk about it. I mean, obviously, last year your path was probably a little bit less direct to a championship. This year, I feel like you guys kind of rolled through the league a little bit. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody. You had some bumps on the road, but it felt like oftentimes you were the best team on the field. How was it transitioning from year 1 to year 2 and being able to build on the foundation that you had last season versus building it from the ground up in season 1?
Season 1 was an inaugural season. I mean, myself and the office coordinator at the time, we felt as though if we were going to win, it would be win season 1, as everybody's getting adjusted and acclimated to the game of basically flag football and football pads. We felt because we ran championship flag football team that was 6 man, that we understood it best. That even though these coaches were elite, that they were coming in, they were still coming into a game that they're unfamiliar with, and we were able to figure some things out once we got the right players on the roster. We went on a 6-game winning streak to finish the season, and then destroyed everybody in the playoffs. So this year, season 2, it some of the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Listening to Krish, with the coaching staff that was coming in, and former offense coordinator from the Pirates who went to the championship game, and Bones Bugatti, and Victor Mans, and then your guy from the Spartans who also had some time in Green Bay with the Blizzard. I mean, these are coaching minds that, regardless of their record or what they put forth, they are able to land spots that put themselves in a position to be well known. But I got suspended in one of the 2 games we won, and I had one game in particular circled, and obviously I can coach with these guys. It's proven now. But I know there's greater minds out there, and I'm looking for the opportunity to do so. I was talking to my guy Brandon over there with the Beef, and we were trying to set something up for preseason, and we were all both excited, very excited. But at the end of the day, I'm a dog, he's a dog, but I'm a dog on a leash. And I was able to run to the end of the yard, and then got pulled back. So unfortunately, that preseason game won't be happening. Although I feel as though it would be really good for the TAL to display what we can do in 8-man, and show a really good organization, and give them a good fight. I don't really like to duck smoke as a person or as a coach, and nor do my players. But at the end of the day, we got to fall in line when the boss man says, "Nah, that's just what it is." So.
That is definitely too bad. It would be a very interesting game, especially because obviously if you guys are playing 8-man, you would have to bring in offensive linemen for that game. So it'd be interesting to see how you guys would approach that.
Yeah, I think our recruiting isn't an issue. I mean, we get hit up by kickers, we get hit up by offensive linemen all the time. Our pipeline and what we recruit from HBCU schools and down south is what we prioritize. But then we also have a lot of league vets that are hitting us up because they heard whispers, and although we put that to rest already, my inbox and email is full with film. We just have to find the right people, obviously, to come in and handle that workload. So it would have been fun. I think it would have been fun. I think it would have been a great opportunity for both organizations, both leagues, to be really put on the map. I feel as though the viewership would have been phenomenal. Because I gave them a little riz when they lost to the Warriors in that preseason game last year. And although I know it's under new management, new coaching staff, it would have been fun, man. I think it would have been a great thing for the arena world.
100% agree. TJ, do you have any questions for Coach?
Yeah. What do you think you have to focus on or prioritize the most this off season to to make that run at a 3-peat for next season?
So I don't want to give out, what we do here, but what I will say is this: if you watch our year 1 season, what our roster looked like, the teams mimicked what we did year 1 going into year 2. We had our own formula going into year 2. It set us apart from everybody else, which I knew it would. And I say this humbly. We set the standard for season 2. So I'm assuming they're going to mimic what we did season 2. But we're going to come in with a different formula for season 3. Like, it's just staying ahead of what we have going on. I know that I've seen some podcasts with Tim Brown where he stated on Off the Wall that they plan on expanding the 10 teams this year, eventually getting to a North and South division, which I think would be great for expenses and travel, economic purposes. I think it's just smarter. And then it also gives an edge for the northern sector and for the southern sector to not have played each other 3 to 2 times a game already, which makes for a more impactful either playoff race or championship game. But yeah, I think setting our bar, we don't worry about the backyard of others. We control what we got going on, and we recruit that way, knowing what we want to do. And I think this year, you guys will be in for a treat for what we plan on doing, pending the rule change, of course.
I did want to ask you, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, year two's roster was so far ahead from year one. Like the level of talent on year two, I think if we put year two team versus year two is winning by like 50. And that's how big of a gap I feel it is. For year three, how much of the year two roster do you hope to retain?
So our exit strategy with our players, they're all coming back. We're hoping that we're able to move to an 18-man travel team instead of a 16-man travel team. That's my submission. The only thing I would want to see changed, just for injury purpose reasons, right? We want to have a little bit more depth, because if one person goes down, it makes somebody's day a very long day in the TAL with having to play special teams and be out there, offense and defense. But what I will say is everybody's returning with the exception of maybe 1 or 2. And that's my decision at the end of the day. Our locker room was great. The brotherhood was great. The camaraderie was great. We had our ups and downs like any other team, but at the end of the day, what we displayed on the field, you guys saw visually, and that's exactly what it was. A bunch of guys flying around, dominating whoever was in front of them, and clearing pass and blocking for one another, no matter what the position was. Or gang tackling and rallying. It was absolutely a coach's dream to be in front of this organization and be able to coach these guys up and give insight.
Can only imagine. I mean, especially considering the success you guys have had over the past couple of years. One change to the roster that we know will be coming is one of your tight ends retired recently. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. I would disrespect him so badly if I tried that. Makani's a great guy. Met him in person a couple years back at the Pro Level Showcase, and I was very excited to see him get a professional opportunity with you. Do you have any words about Makani?
Yeah, I saw his retirement post. Makani's a good guy, good player, good heart. Makani was let go preseason week 1. And it was more so because I'm loyal to my veterans. I'm loyal to the guys that won the roster with us. It wasn't that he was incapable of holding the role. It was more of, again, roster spots, bed spots. And we preferred to have LD and Marcus versatility and speed, along with the ability to block versus a natural tight end, a natural outdoor tight end. But yeah, man, we wish him the very best with whatever he does. Hopefully he can get into coaching and give some of the tools that he's picked up throughout the years back to the youth, and we can have another Makani coming out.
Absolutely.
I gotta ask you, Coach, and this is it's been on my mind all week. So obviously there was guys who left the roster, mid-season, for reasons, whatever, and then guys who got released, what teams do, right? How do you decide who gets a ring? Like, what's the criteria for a player to receive a ring?
If you quit, God bless you. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If you quit, God bless you. We can only control what we got going on in our backyard. I have nothing negative to say about any player, even the ones that decided to pack up in the middle of the night and go. But at the end of the day, man, we stayed focused, man. You gotta imagine, man. Like, I had a lot of distractions to deal with this season, bro. Like, we had so many distractions from myself to our former OC, how it started, like how they were like, man, it was so many things going on within this organization, in league standpoint, that it would fold a normal man. But I'm God driven, and I have great mentors, Mike Davis, Dorsey, Coach Brandon. I mean, the list goes on, and people that reached out to me, Brian Prey, Hall of Fame receiver from the IFL, that kept me grounded and kept me highlighted on keeping the main thing the main thing. Because what better response can you have than to win back to back and then do it in such a dominating way? Especially after, and this is nothing, against Bones, but especially after them naming him Coach of the Year before the championship game. Like, what arena, what league have you ever seen do that? So they. I was able to shake our commissioner's hand. I was able to shake Ronnie's hand. I was able to shake Jeff's hand, and apologize for my antics and what I've done in the past, which is basically trolling, having fun, acting like I'm still, putting my pads on in the locker room, not being professional in that aspect. I can hold full accountability in that, man. But we've had so many distractions, some things that were just completely out of my control, that we had to, as a team, like, look ourselves in the mirror and just keep the main thing, man. The main thing. Like, we had, for instance, like, my mom fell down the steps and was rushed to the hospital right before a game. Like, literally got that phone call before we played the Iowa Woo for the seating positions at home. Fighting back tears, fighting back, the emotions of that, and just trying to stay grounded on that was when I realized, like, yeah, I was made for this. I was made to do this. God has me in my purpose, and I'm walking the path that I'm meant to be on. So, it's a blessing. You can become, and I'm sure other head coaches can relate to this. You can become extremely isolated, locked in on the goal. Extremely private in life, almost introverted, right? Because you're so honed in on what you have to get done for job stability, for player stability. You can't really enjoy the championship game because you immediately go into season 3. At least I did. Like, I switched gears Sunday after Saturday. But it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm so thankful for our new ownership, with Jacob, and then of course my great GM Steve. I couldn't be happier to be here and be in this position.
Man, Coach, I know we got a different relationship than a lot of other some coaches in the TAL. We got a different relationship than a lot of other leagues because we knew each other before this and we molded each other. One thing I'm gonna say, congratulations on the 2-peat.
Appreciate you.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm about to get in my bag, get back to the goats, and we coming after you for year 3. It ain't gonna be easy.
I've heard this
So
before.
I know you did. So now
Okay.
I'm putting it to the pedal now.
Okay.
I stepped away a little bit this year to get the Iowa power together, but
Yep.
I'm about to get in my bag.
Yes, sir.
I
Hey,
can't let you 3-peat. I can't let you do it. But no,
I
I
mean,
love what you built up there. I love what you're doing. Like you say, you feed off us and learn from us, bro. We learn from you. Talking to you day in, day out when we have our conversations, it's nothing but realness. And I
yeah,
appreciate that. What I would say, don't stop being you because our energy, our tenacity, our love for the game is unmatched. Yes, we
yeah,
do sometimes got to brush up, be more professional, but be you. That's what made you what the coach you is today. Keep doing
yeah,
it. And I wanted to
yeah, yeah,
give you your
yeah.
props. You know, I got to hop off. I got a Special Olympics event, but love you, Coach
Good
T,
luck with
man, and
that, bro.
congratulations. Yes,
And good
sir.
luck with the Iowa Power as well, bro. Good luck.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you for your time this morning, Coach B. Have a great day. Coach O'Neill, we really appreciate your time as well. Do either of you guys have any final questions for him?
Yeah, Coach, my final question for you is about Dan Williams. In my opinion, he's the best route runner in the TAL has ever seen. He's physically more advanced than everyone. What's your plan to help him move up to the UFL and CFL level?
He has some CFL looks now. We're actually going to be going to Saskatchewan here shortly. Like I said, man, I'm in a position. Coach Clark's in a position to help these athletes. We're not gatekeeping anybody. We actually want to move our guys up. Like it's a blessing. It's bittersweet, but it's a blessing to be able to have somebody who is such high caliber come to us looking for an opportunity. We give that opportunity. They stay honed in on what they needed to do. Great guy, great locker room guy. We call him the robot, Dan the robot. But he handled his business, man, and this is the joys that you get from handling your business. You get invites, and at that point, it's completely on him what he does with that, right? But as you know, last year we moved our guys up. This year we moving our guys up. But for a lot of the guys, we feel like you're going to get your best opportunity in the TAL with us, and we want you here season one, and that was our exit strategy, and that's what we did. So we don't have to wait for week 6, week 8, week 5 for them to come back. They'll be here week 1.
Interesting. Definitely seems like you guys have done a pretty good job of building this roster, and I'm excited to see how you guys go in the future. I mean, as of right now, it looks like everybody else has a lot of work to do to catch up. So it's definitely going to be interesting to follow along in 2026 and beyond. TJ, do you have any final questions for Coach?
Nope. Just thanks for coming on, Coach, and congrats on the two-peat.
Yeah, man, I greatly appreciate you guys, man. Always a fan. Was a fan before I started getting on here and talking my junk. Forgive the sunglasses. It's not a cool statement. Not at least not today. I'm just really hungover from my trip in Colombia. So, but back to being professional. And you guys have a great weekend. I'm picking Vegas tonight for the win. And yeah, it should be interesting. Even though my guy Finley, one of our corners that we moved up to the Blizzard, is over there and he's balling right now. I got to roll with my dog Mike. So
That is fair. There you go. You even got Coach O'Neill's IFL prediction for the championship game tonight. So really appreciate your time, Coach, and best of luck in the future. Something tells me that you're going to be very competitive once again in 2026.
yes, sir. Appreciate you guys, man. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Have a great day. All right, we're going to go ahead and welcome on Kenny Veal, who has been waiting very patiently behind the scenes for probably about 30 minutes now. Thank you so much for your patience, Kenny. Appreciate that. And thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning.
How's your day going so far, sir?
So far, so good. Out here getting a good sun. Out here with my dog. About to cut this grass after I get off the phone with you guys.
There we go. Life of a homeowner, right?
Yeah. You sit there, cut the grass. I ain't never thought I'd be saying that when I gotta get up, cut the grass as soon as I wake up.
Absolutely. Krish, you want to kick us off on this one, buddy?
Yeah, my dog, good to see you. My first question for you is kind of going into free agency, right? You had a great run with Nashville. Are you anticipating coming back to Nashville, or are you kind of exploring other opportunities?
I'm open as always. I'm here to serve. You know, I'm a guy that can go anywhere, fit any situation, because I understand the ins and outs of the game. So I'm really open at the same time. They would love to have me back. That's why I had my first championship in Nashville for the PIFL for Nashville Venom. That's why I started my championship run was in Nashville. So I would love to go back.
Absolutely. I have to ask, correct me if I'm wrong, you're an Ohio guy.
Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio.
It's Hamilton, right?
I was born in Cleveland, but I finished my collegiate career in Hamilton, Ohio, where it's been a dream come true. I've never seen it coming, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made being in Hamilton, Ohio.
Very nice. Well, obviously, I have to ask. I mean, I imagine your curiosity was piqued when the Kentucky Barrels were announced. I mean, that's what, about 45 minutes from your home city?
Yeah.
When that announcement came out, or when you found out about it, it might have been before the announcement came out. What were your immediate thoughts? I mean, do you think the team's going to have a bright future? And did that immediately pique your curiosity, or are you just kind of open to whatever the football brings you next?
It definitely piqued my curiosity because it's like close to my hometown. A lot of my peers that see me tour up the field at the youth collegiate level. I'm pretty sure they will be out there. If I was to be out there, they will support. So I would have a fan base down there because I actually attended Thomas More College in Kentucky. So
Very nice. That would be interesting.
yeah.
TJ, do you have anything for Kenny?
Yeah, Nashville, you guys came really close. You went toe to toe with Albany for the most part in the championship game. You know, uh, if you were to go back to Nashville, what do you think is one or two things that you need to end up becoming champions this year?
I would say this camaraderie, this more so it's like Albany. I know that I've been over there. I won a championship over there. It's all about family. It's all about getting together real tight, real soon, so you can know who you're playing for, not just yourself, so you can rely on the other. So it's like I say, a family, a band of brothers. So you have to get that camaraderie early because how the season started off, it was really shaky. Everything was folding. Then we had to play a game out of nowhere. We was thinking we got a week off. We had a game the same week. We think we got a week off. So it was a lot of picking up the pieces early and we was trying to figure it out throughout the whole year. And we said we came up short, but at the same time, look what happens when we just give us a scrapbook of paper and just put something together. And look what happens. Imagine we had a band like how Aubrey had, it's a different situation.
A big topic of discussion, right, between veteran players is kind of the treatment, right? The living situation, the housing, the pay. You're a veteran, right? How do you feel? Do you think that's improved? And how was the treatment in Nashville overall this year, you would say?
I would say first class true. We was living really good. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing a while. I would say that's one of the best places I stayed in, and hospitality, Southern hospitality through the Nashville area was a real good turnout. Like I said, trying to figure out the whole season, trying to figure out our identity, and make sure the league was going to run. So it was a lot of the beginning was a like hold your breath in the beginning to tell, all right, it's rolling now, y'all. Let's figure this out. And the living situation, it was really good. Like I don't have no complaints. Me, I'm a different type of person because I choose to eat different. I don't eat meat anymore, so it's a big brisket, big barbecue, hot chicken down there. So I didn't really care too much. So I had to find what I had to eat for myself.
Interesting. I don't know that there's a lot of vegetarians out there that play football.
I
Um,
don't think it's too many. Nah.
I can imagine it can be somewhat difficult to maintain all the calorie intake that you need to maintain yourself as an athlete. How do you go about supplementing your vegetarianism?
Um, Organized. From some start up, you gotta start your day with say organized prep, mostly prep. And at the same time, we practice in the morning, so I had enough time to prep for my food. So food wasn't a big issue to get no intake. So you just start early. Then I don't really eat till 1 o'clock actually. So I don't. I gotta get yesterday out, so it'll probably don't come out till about 1. So I don't eat it till once everything is out. So it's like I'm knowing my bowel movement, so I know what I'm putting in, what I don't need to put in. I know what affects me if it goes in. I can pretty much pinpoint what I ate.
Interesting. Interesting. Definitely, I know a lot of athletes are very particular about what they put in their body. So it's interesting to hear that you have an added factor there to contribute with. Chris,
Yeah,
do you
I'm
have any more questions?
Yeah, KV, my final question for you today is kind of the AF1, as a league. Where do you see the league going next year? And what are some things as a veteran player you would like to see added?
consistency. It's always been about consistency, getting guys to get on board, owners, and the community coming together to make some basketball happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cities has a lot of players to come out of the woodworks to put on a show, but at the same time you have to have consistency, have the league continue to produce quality so these NFL, these UFL teams can come find these guys. like I said, I played long enough that these opportunities wasn't out, so now they're out. I'm advocating to make sure these. I'm trying to give all these boys the game that I know, so they can get there faster without being stressed out. Because you're not coming into this league and trying to get rich. It's not that. It's a platform to showcase who you are, to put your family on the map, your city on the map. You know what I'm saying? Just stay who you are about. If you're a dog or you're not, at the same time, this game made for everybody. It's all about consistency. The product has to look good. And I would say Albany and Nashville are the standards. And I've been around the standard for a long time. I've been around championship organizations. So that's all I know how to do is win. So I know if it's going to work in the beginning, midway, I know if it's going to work or not just because I've been around it so long. And I know the recipe of a championship.
I love that. TJ, do you have any other questions for him?
Yeah, kind of piggyback off Krish's question. In terms of the AF1 as a league, with Nashville obviously getting a lot of big names as coming in as part of their ownership, the AF1 as a whole getting some pretty good national sponsorship. Do you see this being the trend that the league's going to? Do you see a lot of all or majority of the teams having, kind of big names attached to them in the ownership group in the future?
I would say that's how it's always. When I started, that's what it was. It was always something big, big. It was bigger than me at one point. When I overstand the game, so I feel like I'm not bigger than the game, but I overstand the game. At one point, it was big that guys come to the locker room. You always heard about these guys. Now I'm one of these guys. It's crazy to say that I'm one of the guys that I used to look up to. Or these names, you got Sony Varma, my guy I played with. You got your Mario Norman. You got your DJ. I play with a lot of dogs, so I have a lot to offer to give. And the direction is going. I think it's going very well because they happen to show the dynamic of where they want to go with these teams. So it's showing you they're trying to spread it out and make it make sense for everybody, not just a crapshoot. We all travel across the world, just trying to make it happen, stressing everybody out. So it's coming to a head. At the same time, I see them doing the thing by getting it to because at the same time we want football all year round, and AFL is a staple to stay that I would think they will continue to put in. We just got to find the right owners to keep it going, not make it a hobby, make it a passion, a dream to uplift somebody else. Yeah, they could do that by doing them platforms.
Jordan Mosley tuning in. Always been a consummate professional, one of the hardest working teammates I've ever had the pleasure of competing with. Kind words from Coach Mosley there. Speaking of
Mo,
coaching, is there coaching in your future?
that's what I plan on doing. I plan on doing it. I really want to coach. Like I said, I have a lot to give from my journey as a young man, as a young adult, as a man, as a father now. I have a lot to offer in the coaching world that I have bumps and steps and stumbles that I have that were not just for me. It was just to give somebody else so they won't do them steps that I did to get to where I live or get to NFL. So I have I have some tools to give away. So I do plan on coaching in the Arena Football League or elsewhere. But I started my collegiate career in Hamilton, Ohio, in ninth grade 1 year. So I got my feet wet. So I understand some guys ain't got it. Some guys do, and the ones you feel passionate about, but more the guys that don't have the skills that I have. So I felt myself like, man, wow, I found more love for the guys that don't have skills because they want to have skills like I have. So they bring a more type of energy to the practice field, to the field or football period. So I gravitate to the guys I notice now at my coaching career is the ones that don't really have the skills to pay the bills, as my older brother would say.
That's fair. CJ Kane tuning in says KV, the vegan nightmare, great teammate. Glad to have been able to share a field with him.
Uh,
So you
look,
must be making an impression on people along the way because you got a bunch of your former teammates chiming in just to say hey and talk about how great you are. But um, obviously, we just a moment ago asked you about coaching. How many more years do you see yourself playing on the field?
the crazy thing is, man, they call me. I don't do the calling, so it's like I guess I do my thing on the field. So they like, oh, he still got the juice, which I take real pride in my craft that I still have the juice up until this day. That you don't see too many people at my age playing my position and doing the things I do as still at a high level with guys that's 21 years old. So that tells you how I'm passionate, how dedicated I am to show up at every camp and win a star spot every year. That lets you know that he got something that he's still doing it, and most guys don't get to do that. And so some guys get they butt hurt when they get cut. Some guys get traded. Some guys can't take that. And I know, like I say, I heard somebody say they're built for this. Like I'm built for arena football. I'm built for uplifting somebody. I'm built for coaching. I'm built to pass on the legacy that I had, or to uplift somebody else's legacy. So I really want to do coach stuff to give back.
Love it. Chris, do you have any more questions?
I am a free
No,
agent right now.
it's really good to continue to see you playing. I remember your first game, and just good, man. I want to see you keep balling. I feel like you got a good 5 to 10 years left in the tank, and I look forward to next year, man.
So yeah, at 5 year tank, I got a little brother. That's name is Chazville. That's when I put it down. That's what y'all gonna be seeing. So remember that name, Chazville, my blood brother. When I put it down, y'all gonna see him around. So I'm gonna be around regardless, cause I'm gonna make sure he out there, cause he loved the game as well too. So
That's awesome. TJ, any final questions for him?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Kenny. We really appreciate you coming on. And we look forward to seeing where you end up in 2026. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere. Like you said, they're doing the calling. So I'm something tells me your phone's going to be ringing for at least a few more years.
I'm in the gym right now, so I'm still the call. I'm ready, so I ain't got to get ready. So being a dad, being a full-time dad, a worker, provider, but they call me, I'm ready. So don't hesitate. I'm a free agent, but at the same time, you know the number. Somebody know somebody that know me, so ain't no excuse that my phone don't ring though.
On that note, if you're a team out there and you do not have any contact with Kenny, we can definitely facilitate that conversation. So we're always happy to help any player. So
2 views. It's 2 of us. If you want 2 of us, 2 is better than 1. I tell you that. These 2 for sure. Anybody can tell you that ran into us. Me and my brothers, total package. Get it how you live for sure. Double the trouble.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kenny. We really appreciate it. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and wish you best of luck heading forward.
For sure. Appreciate you guys. Good morning. Enjoy y'all Saturday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Once again, that was defensive back Kenny Veal from the Nashville Cats in 2025. We'll see where he ends up in 2026. Would not shock me at all if that is one of the early signings for the Kentucky Barrels. If I'm the Kentucky Barrels, I'm looking for guys who are local. I'm looking for guys who are going to bring that fan base with them. You have the ability to tap 2 markets with Cincinnati right over the border there, and then Northern Kentucky. Lean into it. I think that's a great strategy for the future. But we're going to hit a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, and then we'll go ahead and transition over to talking about the Kentucky Barrels since we're already on that subject. And then we'll move through to the IFL Championship. And then we got a couple things for the NAL, nothing major this week. And we even have some CFA news. So we're going to see if we can fit all this in. Some of it might need to get pushed back. I'm not going to lie. We've already been here for 2 hours. So if you guys are enjoying yourself, hit the like button, share this with your friends, help us pump those numbers up.
How many times a week?
Like three, four times maybe.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me.
It's so easy. Get out your own way.
It's just so easy.
Shout out to all the sponsors of this show. As always, thank you to the Omaha Beef, Upside, HoneyStinger, and then also Estime for Fitness for all the support. Also, if you guys enjoy the show, hop over, check out our sponsors, use our codes, help us get a little bit of a kickback. We will never charge you, as long as I'm ahead of Shady Sports Network, we will never charge you for our content. So this is our way of supporting what we do here. So definitely stick with us. Continue to support the companies that support us. And also check out the merch on brandingblakes.com. We have shirts, hats, hoodies, all that fun stuff. So go check it out. You get yourself a Shady Sports Network shirt, hat, or maybe even some fantasy reports gear. But moving on to the Kentucky Barrels, we've got multiple different things that have come up over the past week, because since their announcement, they are partnered with Northern Kentucky University. Let's just go ahead and start there. What do you guys think about this announcement by the Kentucky Barrels, their partnership with Northern Kentucky, and just overall the whole presentation of the team so far? Let's go to TJ first on this one.
I really like the branding. I love how they tapped into, their Kentucky bourbon barrel heritage. The logo is clean. It definitely doesn't look like something you would see pre-designed on, Madden or college football. So that's good too. Uh, and it's a great location for an arena team to be. So I'm looking forward to further news and coaches, rosters, all that stuff just closer to the season. I think it's going to be a great addition to this league.
What do you think about the hiring of Cedric Walker? Obviously, we knew he was going to the quote-unquote Ohio team. I don't think most of us thought the team would ultimately play in Kentucky, but he's only a year away from a championship. I mean, what do you think about that hire?
I think it's huge. It gives them a big jump. Obviously he has a championship pedigree, has a lot of experience in, the arena indoor world. And I mean, as a Billings or as an Outlaws, I'll say loosely, as an Outlaws fan, you know, I have nothing but respect for him, and he's really a great coach. He's a great leader for players, and they definitely hit a home run with that hire. They probably honestly jumped ahead of the curve just by having him as their head coach. I will put that much stock in his name.
I would agree. His experience as a general manager is probably extremely valuable to their organization as well. Krish, what are your thoughts on the Kentucky Barrels and their partnership with NKU?
Yeah, I think it's good. Get the college students involved. I love the logo. It's original, like TJ was saying. It's not made off AI. So I think other leagues and teams should take notes, right? If you should have your logo be original, it'll look great on a helmet. I can't wait to see their color scheme. Cedric Walker, like again, TJ said, puts him ahead of the 8 ball. Honestly, getting a guy like that, with that level of championship winning coach, he knows how it is. He can set a standard. He can build a culture. And the Ohio area is filled with arena talent. You have Kenny Veal, you have Darius Prince, you have Mike Tatum, Rayshon Kaiser. All these people live in Ohio, and then many more. I can name more. So I think they should really look at trying to build a local area with coaches and players. That would be great. And I expect Kentucky. Just the news that Cedric Walker is the head coach, that puts them ahead of Oregon and Washington, right? In the market they play in. So I expect Kentucky to be a playoff team in the in the AF1, and I expect them to be a championship contender, honestly.
Completely 100% agree. You bring in a coach like Cedric Walker, he's experienced, he's seen everything, he's done everything. As far as that goes, he's not going to walk into a fly-by-night industry or organization, and we also had, reported here at Shady Sports when we mentioned that he was leaving the Outlaws, that he signed a 3-year deal. He's there to stay. This is a situation where the organization believes in what he brings to the team, and they're setting up for stability long-term. I have stated this on all of our social medias already, and I'm going to state it again. I think this partnership with NKU is the future. Zach Kyleman and Scott Burke on AF1 Fan Zone recently did an interview with Kentucky Barrels owner Corey Cunningham, and it was a great interview. You should go check it out as soon as we get off of here. Once again, AF1 Fan Zone on YouTube. But he talked about the ties to NKU. He's obviously an alum of the program, but he talked about being able to tap so many different majors and programs that they have at the university that are going to ultimately save the organization a lot of effort and realistically money, which obviously is a big deal with arena football, because they'll be able to work a lot of the positions that a team would normally need to fill with apprentices or interns through the school. And I think that is a brilliant move. It's also brilliant to put out there very heavily that you're partnered with NKU because you have a built-in fan base. You know, the university does not have their own football team. So in a way, they now have a football team to support. So I think it's a genius move. I think it's a move we're going to see a lot more in the future. And, you know, we've got the ECHL model in the IFL, right? So maybe this is the model that AF1 begins to start following to make their teams more sustainable. I mean, that arena is not only, I imagine, reasonable to rent because it's not huge. I think it's 9,000 seats for basketball alignments, if I remember correctly. Probably about 6,500 for football alignments. It's also to the point where they're not competing with a bunch of tenants. There are other tenants, but they're all with the school and they play at different times. So I think this is a move that we're going to see a lot more of in the future, and I think it's brilliant. Honestly, I really can't state how excited I am to see that side of things play out, because I think it's really just a smart move in terms of financial aspects of what this partnership can bring for both sides.
And to tap off that quick too, what is something colleges and universities have? Constant influx of new people, new students coming in every year.
Exactly.
That could be huge for them.
Exactly. And if you can make it work where you're playing off that partnership and, hey, we're the NKU football team, you know, come out, support us, give discounts to students, whatever you have to do to really get the students in the door. Like I said, you have a built-in fan base. It's a genius move. I really can't understate that or overstate that enough. But we've got a ton of comments rolling in about this. Funny name. Yes, it's a little funny. It's a little cartoonish. It's a little, AAA baseball-ish, but that's not.
I like it better than the Dallas Bulls. I mean, the Kentucky is so much more original, honestly.
No, 100%. And it ties to the community, right? So that's another thing that I really like about it. I think the Kentucky Barrels will be a great addition to the AF1. I do as well. Plush King says, I like the logo. Sponsored by Jim Beam. Hey, man, let's hope so. That'd be a hell of a sponsor to land and get involved with AF1. DP is from Eastern Pennsylvania. Okay, interesting to keep a note of. Did the league drop Wilkes-Barre Mavericks, Stockton Crusaders? We will come back to that here shortly. Also, please remember to hit the like button. That really helps us and get this pushed out to new viewers as well. The deals reported by Corey with the university is almost too good to be true. It is something others should look at. I 1,000% agree. I have the same question about Wilkes-Barre and Stockton. Okay. And Monterey Kings and Arizona Bandits too. Hopefully Kentucky can do a hefty lefty tribute night. I also think it's a great idea that it's getting involved with the university. Love it. Lots of love for the fact that they're involved with the university. This right here, I would love to see that. For those of you guys who don't know out there, hefty lefty, Jared Lorenzen, obviously he was a quarterback of the Giants. He played for, to my knowledge, every Kentucky team that existed during his career in arena football. And he's also an alum of Kentucky University. So it would be really cool to see them honor him in some way and maybe even play on the past, like an alternate jersey night with some River Monsters gear or was it River Monsters or River Gators? I don't recall at this point.
I think River Gators, I want to say. I'm not sure.
I would have to look back, to be honest, but it would be cool to see them do an alternate jersey and kind of play on the history. By the way, those teams played at Truist Arena as well. So this is not an unprecedented partnership for the school, which I like to hear. But any other thoughts on Kentucky Barrels before we get to this question about the other franchises in AF1?
We should get some free barrels, just saying.
I mean, I'd take them. I'm not going to lie. Somebody had a really good suggestion about doing, instead of a cheese head, a barrel head. I thought that would be really cool. Maybe even sell some like plastic barrels that people could wear, like the Barrel Man in Denver. I think that would also be really cool. So there's a lot of different fun things that you can play off of with this name. So I'm excited to see it. But
I think you just leaked their official mascot, Barrel Man.
well, I didn't leak anything because he actually mentioned that when in the interview with AF1 Fan Zone. He did mention the Barrel Man, specifically mentioned the Denver Broncos, which I was impressed by because unless outside of being a Broncos fan, I didn't really think that he had a whole lot of notoriety outside of Colorado. So it was really cool to hear that. And I mean, he passed away years ago. So for him to pull that out and know that, I was impressed. He's obviously a football guy. But crazy that every organization didn't already try to get interns through or universities. I've worked with hockey teams that did it. A lot of teams do, right? But it's not as closely tied to a university like this one is, where you're literally not even leaving the campus to do that internship. So that's a huge benefit. Students are going to be a lot more likely to sign up for that. So, if you're just looking for college interns and you're just any other internship, it's a little bit different, I think. I wonder what the mascot will be.
A lot of teams will do internships with college students, but it's more of like a contracted, if you will, internship. This, like you said, it would be a direct pipeline, basically a partnership. So it would be much cleaner, much easier to do.
Yeah, the student section should be called the
wow.
bungholes. I don't know about that, but that is hilarious. Morning, Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments, guys. Keep them rolling in. If you've got anything else to chime in, I think we would love to hear it. And this right here, beginning of NCAA arena football. I think the reason why I think this is such a genius move, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because I could literally spend hours explaining why I think this is a great idea. But when you look at the universities that are unable to compete at the NCAA level because of the new modern aspect of college football where all these players are getting NIL, this could be the future. If you look at it, one, the university is not footing the bill for this team. They are not running the team. They're not having to fund the equipment, the players, all these different things that the ownership group is doing. But they still get the benefits of having the team to support. So if you can all of a sudden build in some rivalries with other universities across the country or other locales that are, nearby, I think that really is only going to build it long term. And then make more universities that can't really afford to be super competitive in football anymore consider this as an option. We're hearing about more and more programs at universities or universities shutting down their football programs. This could be an alternative, or maybe we see this morph into something. We've heard people speculate about, eventually selling the rights to a team and having like owners of NCAA teams. Maybe this is the beginning of that. Ralph
And
Bird
this would
says,
not be the first time that they talked about it either. They talked about arena football at the collegiate level back in the early to mid 2000s too, at the peak of the AFL.
well, I mean, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Most of these
Absolutely.
big universities, or the universities that would have a football program anyway, but don't, they've got hockey, they've got basketball. A lot of them have their own arenas. So I think it's a smart partnership. There's so many different reasons why it makes sense. It's honestly kind of surprising more people haven't looked into it. And he said the same thing. Corey talked about using court curriculum, sports management, their training staff, so many things that could benefit this team as well as the university with real life application. I actually have a short list. They have exercise science, innovation and entrepreneurship, journalism, legal studies, management, marketing, organizational leadership, sales, sports business and event management, as well as the programs you talked about. They also, I believe, have like a sports training program for athletic trainers. So there's so many different ways that this could make sense. Hit the like button. Every school has an arena. LSU Indoor Tigers. See, I mean, even the big organizations could play on this and eventually bring in a secondary team that's playing in the spring. You know, it would be an interesting way of bringing in more fans. But the other piece of AF1 news that we wanted to get to real quick before we'll get to the other organizations is the announcement, then retraction, then deletion of the Corpus Christi Tritons Facebook. They came out with a long statement. I honestly, I'll post the pictures here in a second, but it was a situation where they came out with a long statement. It angered quite a few people that were involved with the league or somehow involved with various other things. And, ultimately they backtracked, deleted the post, and then deleted their Facebook. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that whole situation. And if you haven't seen the announcement, give me just a moment. I'll try and get the pictures. Let's go to Krish first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's dumb. Honestly, they should have never put that out anyway. But they were impulsive and they wanted to put something out. And I mean, they're dead now. Honestly, like, who really cares? It's over with. It's, I mean, like, that market is cursed. I feel like I don't think that market will ever get an indoor arena team again. Honestly, there's been too many teams that have failed in Corpus Christi for a variety of reasons. So I just think it's time to move on from that market as a whole.
I would agree. TJ, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't want to bash the organization, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, it was a failure from the jump, in my opinion. It was just a mess. They literally were the true, I'll leave it light, stain on the AF1 this past season. And that whole putting out a thing, people start arguing and showing facts that some of the stuff they were saying in their statement was not true. uh then they delete it like it's going to hide it. Man, it's the internet. It stays on there forever. We all see screenshots of it still today, and it just adds to the mess. You know, I know Corpus has had teams in the past, and none of them have really panned out. I don't want to wish straight up, extinction on that location, but leagues definitely and possible ownership groups definitely have to be careful if they ever do try to bring another team back there, just because it does seem to be, like Chris said, a little bit of like a cursed area. They just haven't found their special sauce, if you will, for that area yet. But yeah, it's, in my opinion, overall for the Tritons, it's that statement was pretty much a conclusion of a very messy and turbulent team slash ownership.
Would definitely agree. And give me just a moment. I'll pull that up. But as I pull up the statement, let's go ahead and transition and talk about some of these other organizations that the fans are asking about, or the viewers are asking about. We got questions about Wilkes-Barre and Stockton, Monterey Kings, and Arizona Bandits. So have we heard any news for any of those four teams that were just mentioned? Krish, I'll let you take the wheel on this one.
No, not at all. Not at all. Arizona, I'm not coming back. That guy, honestly, he underestimated how much it would cost to run a team. So he's not going to bring it back. The Monterey, I haven't heard anything about Monterey and Stockton. Nothing except their Twitter posts. I don't think any of those three teams are happening, to be honest.
TJ, have you heard anything about any of these teams?
No, they've all gone pretty silent, dark. And I live in Pennsylvania, and we have not heard anything about the Wilkes-Barre Scranton team at all. The last murmurs that I heard about them was kind of similar to Stockton, I believe, where it was basically they either lost a major investor or they underestimated the pay structure and what it would cost to run the team. So, unfortunately, I can't speak for the other team specifically, but from the little stuff that I have heard about the PA team, yeah, they're probably not happening anytime soon, unfortunately.
It drives me nuts, man. Like, why announce that you're playing in the market, hype up a market, get them all excited, and say, you know what, nah, we're not doing it. Like, just it's bullshit to me, and it shouldn't happen anywhere in any league, and it doesn't happen in the IFL because they do their due diligence to make sure it doesn't happen, right? So
Yeah, and this is actually just a quick funny story for my job. I go to people's homes. I'm in sales, and I actually did one in the Scranton area, and we actually got talking about arena football, and they said, "Yeah, we were supposed to get a team somewhere around here, but it never happened. We were psyched we were going to go." And it was just like, wow, but yeah. So even people who live specifically in Scranton are assuming it's done.
Yeah, I have not heard a single thing about any of those teams, and it's concerning because as people are putting in the chat right now, yes, Stockton is still posting as if they're a part of the league, but I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing about them actually joining the league, and when I mentioned it to them on Twitter, they basically just said stay tuned as of right now. So there's a lot of room for interpretation there, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, until I see an announcement for them being in the league and they actually play a game, they're not really doing themselves any favors by just posting on social media repeatedly. Like at this point, it's been a 2-year run up to them potentially hitting the field. At some point, you just gotta, for lack of a better term, shit or get off the pot, man. It's not one of those things where a multiple year run up is going to do you any favors. You're going to lose relevance at some point. And so if it's not in 2026 and we're going into 2027 and it's been 3 years, we have to have serious conversations about, if it's ever really going to happen. And I mean, I hope it does. I really hope it does, for California, for Stockton. I know there's some people out there that were very excited about the team and hopefully they get it. But here's the full statement from the Tritons ownership group. Or we assume it was the Tritons ownership group that was removed. We're going to leave this up on the screen for a little bit so you guys can read it if you haven't already. But we're not going to spend a ton of time on them. So with that being said, what do you guys want to talk about next? NAL?
Yeah, we can talk about the Tyler, whatever the team. Yeah, Tyler Crew, whatever.
Okay, well, on that note, here is the postponement post for the Tyler Crude. Their announcement was supposed to be, I believe, Wednesday of last week, and now it is rescheduled for the beginning of September due to apparently a scheduling conflict, which I'm a little confused how that happens, especially the day before the announcement. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, obviously, this is, I don't want to say concerning, but it's not exactly getting off to the right foot here. So I'm definitely curious what caused this. Let's go to Krish first on this one.
Right. So, when you're planning an event for any type of business or a corporation, right, it normally takes months to weeks. And the VIPs, that stands for very important person, right? Wouldn't they be the first people that you would contact to make sure they could attend an event? Like, that sounds so stupid that you found out the day before, oh yeah, our VIPs can attend. Like, those are the first people that you should have contacted about the event. It's like stuff like this makes this team, like, it's so bad. It makes the industry look bad. And it makes these teams look bad. Like, I can't take this seriously at all. Especially what you said, about Richard Rodgers and his number being connected, what people were speculating. I mean, all I know is probably sitting on the couch eating hot Cheetos, planning how he's going to steal money from another market because that's what they do. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's so stupid. And I'm just done. I'm done with this. Like, they can have their press conference. I won't be watching because I don't. You don't waste people's time. That's the biggest disrespect, to waste people's time. If I was in that market, I would be pissed. If I was a sponsor, I would be pissed. So that's what it is.
It's fair point. Fair point. TJ, other than what Chris just had to say about hot Cheetos, do you have any thoughts?
Man, I'm going to break the rules and say real quick, Flamin' Hot Cheetos are delicious. But I feel like it's coming down a little hard on them. I mean, yeah, they should have had that figured out. They should have known dates. They should have had everything solidified 100%. But I will give them this one-time benefit of the doubt and say, growing pains, new franchise, whatever. But if they continue to do these kind of things and it becomes repetitive, then it's going to be okay. I think they're in over their head. But for now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's hope that the reschedule does happen as planned.
Agreed. Brian also points out that there was recently another Tyler Crude Facebook page that doesn't have any posts yet. It just has like a football as a picture that popped up recently, and it's based in Shreveport. As Chris just mentioned, Richard Rogers, who's affiliated with the Shreveport or was affiliated with the Shreveport Rougarou last season, is apparently his number and email are listed on the Tyler Crude page. The belief is that him and Keith Russ are now involved with this new team and that they're going to launch it in Tyler, and that they have exited the ownership group of the Shreveport Rougarou, who is apparently now primarily Keith Carter, who is local to Shreveport. So
I just don't know why they keep getting teams. Like, I don't know why I don't know what league that Tyler Crude is going to join. It's pretty obvious. But why do we keep giving them opportunities? They've shown their true colors. And you look at the Facebook comments, Richard Rogers doesn't answer the phone. He doesn't call back. He doesn't deliver on promises. The streams of comments saying this type of stuff. So I don't understand. And we know Pete Russ. We know that Pete probably has good intentions, but can't execute. There's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, in business, they use the saying, it's not about what you know, it's about what you don't know. With him, it's about what he knows and only what he knows. That's why he keeps messing up at every single spot. So I don't know. It just drives me nuts. We'll give them a chance, and they won't make it through the season, or they'll have all semi-pro guys, and it'll be that. So because the Shreveport team has a bad look now. There's people online, there's players saying, don't play for Shreveport. Warning, don't sign with them. Don't sign with them. I've seen multiple posts that say that. So They need to come out and clear their name. They need to come out and put a statement, a press conference. Hey, I'm the new owner. Like, this is what I stand for. You can't secretly go through ownership transition like that without being transparent to the community. It looks shady as fuck, honestly. So.
Krish with the swear words today. Sir, this is a family show. How dare you? Shame. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I agree. Honestly, when those rumors start slipping out, it quickly burns a market, and I definitely understand that your frustration. Keith Carter, if he's a local guy and he's got some backing, yeah, why wouldn't you want to announce that he's the full-time owner now, or the full owner? So I mean, I think that's something they need to come out and do. Real quick, I wanted to highlight this comment. Recently, you may have seen that This Week in Arena Ball on Twitter came out with a new award situation called the Barbell Awards. And it's kind of a cool thing, just kind of like highlighting some of the media groups that cover arena football. And a lot of people got recognition, and we were very lucky that a lot of people out there who voted thought that we deserved an award for this show. So I think we won Best Live Streamed Show. And then we also won Reporter of the Year, which both of those titles we take a lot of pride in, and we take a lot of appreciation from the fact that you guys all felt that we were good enough to be voted as such. So we work really hard on this show. We work really hard on all the information that we get. We try to maintain relationships with people all over in this industry and stuff like that to create a collective where we're able to give information and stuff. So we just really want to thank everybody for that recognition. Obviously we're doing something right because you guys are the ones that are constantly watching the show and commenting and supporting us. So we really appreciate the support. We really appreciate the award. Are there anything you guys want to say, given that you have helped build this show into what it is?
Yeah, it's just humbling. I appreciate you, TJ, Coach B, everyone that's hopped on, especially like guys like Coach Davis. I know I give him so much shit, but like people that watch and support, I think it's great. And, we plan to grow this to the moon and back. I think we're going to do some really big things next year, hopefully be on site for a couple games. So it's definitely exciting. I'm excited for the future, and I'm glad that our, hard work was recognized. So I appreciate that.
TJ, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, it's like I shared on Facebook yesterday. I'm just honored to be a part of this network and this show, and it's fun to jump on and give a sport that doesn't really get a lot of mainstream recognition its due respect. And I just want to say thank you specifically to Sam for originally reaching out and asking me to be a part of this. It's been an awesome ride the last year and a half, 2 years.
No, I mean, honestly, I'm glad I came in connection with all the people that are a part of this now. And, I've been very lucky over the years. I've been managed to sidestep some people that probably shouldn't have been involved. And it's just based on, trusting other people's opinions sometimes. And we've been very lucky to meet a really good great group of guys, from these two here on the show with me and TJ and Krish, and two of the most knowledgeable people I've ever been able to share a show with, Coach B coming on and really kind of adding an extra element to the show. And then on top of that, all the other people that are on the network that are not affiliated with the show that do keep us informed about stuff that we may miss as well. So, all the guys at the network, every single one of them pulls their weight. Like I said, I say all the time, I think we've got the best team in sports media. And, I would put us up against basically anybody, even the bigwigs. Obviously, I'm very biased. But with that in mind, we'll get back to the show and stop taking our victory laps. Just really appreciate the recognition from you guys on that. So we got a couple more questions to get to. Don't they have new owners? So do the new owners owe that debt? I assume this is involved with the Corpus Christi comments. So if that's the case, I do think the Corpus Christi, or the people who took over the Corpus Christi team, have paid some of the debts. I don't know that they've paid all of them. So I feel like, if I remember correctly, players did get paid their back pay. And the guy that stopped them from folding owns the Kentucky team anyway. That is what we were given information wise. So I think Corpus Christi is 100% dead now and are just being replaced by the Kentucky Barrels. Please, as always, remember, hit the like button. NAL, I believe this was talking about the Tyler Crude. You guys need to have the commissioner of the AF on so we can ask him questions. Would love to get him on. Been working on that for 2 years. Trust me, it's in the works. We're hoping to make it happen. Picturing Eric Cartman's cheesy poofs. Yep, it's 100% a lie. Something isn't in order, and this is about the Shreveport. Question marks. Winner. Thank you for voting for us, Brian. He had the wherewithal to message me and let me know that he did vote for us. I really appreciate that. And then Ricky Barrett's well-deserved awards, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate that, Ricky. Real quick, we're going to have one more commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the IFL, and I think that's basically it, except for the two teams that have joined the CFA, which we're not going to spend a ton of time. We don't have a ton of information yet. But on that note, once again, shout out to the Omaha Beef, the sponsor of Around the Indoor Football World. Thank you so much for helping us keep this show going. All right. Once again, shout out to the Omaha Beef for sponsoring this show. Go pick up your merchandise now at Goat Sports. The link is now in the comments. Speaking of which, one thing we did not discuss with the NAL is the partnership with Go Sports, which will now be doing all of the sideline apparel, jerseys, game balls, everything for the NAL. Really, really excited about that partnership. I got to see some of the merchandise up close and personal when I was at the Pueblo Punishers announcement. Looks good, looks the part, seems to hold up well. So excited to see it in person when we get some beef gear over here. On that note, we're going to move on to the IFL. Obviously, big news in the IFL with the championship game being tonight. Krish is most likely to get called out in a national broadcast. Can't wait for that. So it'll be fun. So let's go ahead and get into this. First, let's talk about the announcement last night. So IFL had their media day, and this is a big reason why we will call them the NFL of indoor football. You go watch that media day, and it's very professionally run. It's really well done. It was announced ahead of time, so that's always nice as well. But with that in mind, the announcement came that the Duke City franchise, or the franchise replacing the Duke City Gladiators from the 2024 season, is now announced as the New Mexico Chupacabras. So let's just go off the cuff, initial reactions to the logos, and your thoughts on the name. Let's go to TJ first on this one.
Man, I love it. I think it's cool. Chupacabras. I mean, just saying the name makes me smile. It's a cool little name. I love the logo. The yellow or the yellow red rather color scheme really pops. I think branding wise, it's definitely, in my opinion anyway, an upgrade. It looks really solid to me.
Yeah, it's not lost on me. The color scheme looks very close to New Mexico University.
Yes.
So I think they were kind of going for those ties on purpose, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. They also announced their new head coach is Fred Moore Brown, who was the former offensive line coach for the Vegas Nighthawks. They also have alluded to the fact that they will be playing at Tingley Coliseum in Albuquerque rather than the Rio Rancho Event Center as per past teams. Krish, what are your thoughts on all of those announcements as well as the logo?
I love it, man. I agree with TJ. I think it's original. It's amazing. It reminds me of, Dragon 99 is a restaurant. So it reminds me a lot of that logo. I said to someone like China, AFL vibes, so I love it, man. I love it. I think it's great. And then Kyle Moore Brown, I mean, Coach Davis can attest to this. Like, I reached out to Coach Davis like 4 weeks ago about Kyle Moore Brown. I think he's a great coach. He's a great leader. And I watched the documentary they did like 2 seasons ago, and he was a big voice in that locker room. So I think it's an out of the box hire. Do I think they'll make the playoffs year one? No. But do I think it can be competitive? Yes, I do. I don't think Kyle Moore Brown is gonna, let his team go down by a lot. Every expansion team struggles in the league, but I think this team can be good. If I was him, I would be bringing Jerome Johnson with me from Vegas to be the face of the franchise for this New Mexico team. That's an easy sell to ownership. To have him as your quarterback, absolutely. So I would love to see Jerome be the quarterback for this new team.
Ooh, that's a spicy little take that I had not considered, Krish. Good call. Good call. You got to wonder if Jerome isn't moving on after the season unless they lose Jaden DeLora and don't bring anybody else in. I mean, obviously, Jerome has kind of taken a backseat to Jaden recently, so I could definitely see that move happening. I wanted to bring up these comments right after the hire was announced. I talked to Mike Davis about it, and he said, great hire, great dude. Obviously, all depends. His success will depend on the staff he's able to build around him and the roster he brings in, which that could be true of any coach, of course. But I can tell you very shortly after the announcement, as in literal minutes after I watched the announcement, he called me, and the head coach, Fred Moore Brown, called me to set up an interview. So we will be having him on very soon. So keep an eye out for that. We will most likely pre-record that one and then broadcast it here on Around the Indoor Football World. And then we will also most likely be having the general manager, Tim Smith, on at some point over the near future as well. So stay tuned for some New Mexico Chupacabra interviews coming on here soon. Good morning, Scott. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you also tagging us in announcements as of late to keep us privy of everything going on. Really appreciate it.
I do want to say, though, I really appreciated how professional they were when they announced their team. They walked up there. They, just gave us all the information. They kept it short and sweet. They were right to the point, and they had everything ready. They had the helmets ready to go. Like, that level of professionalism is what separates the IFL from every other league. That was amazing. They had the video queued up. You notice when they played the video, it showed on the IFL network. No internet issues, perfectly fine, right to the point. I know one of the owners had a background with car dealerships. So it's that car salesman side, right to the point, efficient, effective. And I was really, really excited. Like, that made me more excited for the team. I'm like, these guys are legit. Like, they're ready to go. So
on that note, we are going to take a couple minutes and we are going to play that video from the team so you guys can see it if you have not already. Shout out to, once again, the New Mexico Chupacabras, and welcome to the IFL.
In the heat of the high desert, where ancient legends never die, something stirs beneath the dust and the shadow. New Mexico, land of enchantment, a place forged by fire, blood, and belief. From the sacred stories of the pueblos to the forgotten trails of the Spaniard conquistadors, this land remembers. It holds secrets. It holds power. And out here, where the sun falls and the wind howls across the Rio Grande, the people speak of something else. A creature, a shadow, a predator of myth, feared by the ranchers, whispered about by children, the legend of the Chupacabra. Born of fear, bred for battle, the Chupacabras aren't just a story anymore. They're real, and they've come to eat. This is more than football. This is survival. And in this arena, under these lights, the folklore becomes reality. They don't come to play. They come to hunt. And tonight, it's feeding time in Albuquerque. Our state, our team, your nightmare, the New Mexico Chupacabras.
All right. Yeah, well, definitely a great hype video, a lot of effort put in. And like you said, you want to talk about a level of professionalism. This was obviously, commissioned well in advance and was done and ready for the announcement. Talk about timing of an announcement. I think the media day right before a championship game, get people talking, keep yourself in the news cycle. I think that was an intelligent move by Albuquerque, by the league. And I think it's going to be a good launching point for them to start selling team sponsorships and get out in the community.
They already have season tickets on sale. Cheapest one is $80 for a 7-game package. I mean, that's amazing.
$80 for 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat that. So I believe there was also a 4-pack deal, if I remember correctly. So definitely check out their website and start signing up for those season tickets immediately. Let's make sure we're supporting your local indoor football team no matter where you live. If Albuquerque's just a short drive for you, go check out a game. Bring your kids, man. I guarantee they're going to love it. My kids have loved every game we've ever gone to. They keep asking me to go back. I strongly recommend it. It's a family event. Chloe Hotline $80 is a steal for season tickets. Definitely agree. So moving on to the championship game. Obviously, there is a pretty big game coming up tonight against the Vegas Nighthawks, and Green Bay Blizzard will kick off the championship game tonight in Tucson. The first year it's been in Tucson, if I remember correctly. So it's ironic that it moves to Tucson, and then Vegas gets an opportunity to play in the game. But anyway, let's get into this a little bit deeper than we did last week. I know we kind of gave our winners. I think we're all leaning Vegas a little bit. Krish, I'm sure you have spent a ton of time thinking about this game, looking it over, telling me I'm an idiot for betting the over. So on that note, why do you think this game is a game you bet the under on, and what factors led you to that decision?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to, Green Bay's D-line versus Vegas's O-line. Vegas averages 4.3 yards per carry with Antonio Wimbush and Jaden Delora. And if you look at Green Bay, their D-line averages 4.6 yards against, right? So that's the biggest mismatch I found in data is the rushing attempts, the yardage. I mean, almost allowing 5 yards per attempt is a lot, right? So for me, if I'm Vegas, I'm pounding the ball with Antonio Wimbush if I'm up early. The only thing I can see them, really being a passing script is if Green Bay comes down and hit deuce after deuce after deuce, which is very possible. Andrew Nevis is the better kicker in this game. There's no question about it. But for me, I think it's the under for sure. Under. I don't think Vegas' defense will give up that many points to Green Bay. To allow it to go over.
Okay, I can kind of see that. So, out of curiosity, what do you see Vegas putting up score-wise, though?
Score-wise, I think Vegas will get up. I would say 40 to 45 points. I would expect from the offense tonight.
Okay, so very, very shortly under the 93.5 then.
Right, and that's why 93.5 is a large amount of points too. So
it is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like I said, I made that bet on the over. I looked at it, and you have two teams coming off of 140 or 130 plus point outputs in the previous games in the conference championships. So I saw that, and I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. But I can kind of see, looking back a little bit, if you look at the last game in the regular season, the first game in the playoffs, both of those were pretty low-scoring games. They were under 90 points. So I could kind of see, looking back, why you say that. So, good analysis on your part for sure. I do want to throw out there, though, there's one factor that still has me pretty confident that Vegas might make this, a safe bet on the over. They allowed 113 touchdowns this season, which was second most in the league, only to Iowa. And Iowa allowed a substantial amount more, shockingly enough, even though they played less games. Now, Green Bay did play 18 games. Iowa was only credited with 16 games. So there is that in a factor. But they also were near the top with field goals allowed. Extra points is kind of the one spot where they're a little off of the pace of everybody else. But the second highest points allowed by a defense in the league in Green Bay there. So it'll be interesting to watch that. TJ, what are your thoughts on this game, and how do you see it going?
I see it being a higher scoring game. I actually also bet the over, just based off of not only their outputs from the conference championship games, but also throughout the season. Both teams have shown offensively that they can put up points. The Now the reason, besides just being a fan of the Nighthawks, the reason why I think they'll edge Green Bay out is they seem to have that team chemistry where they can win in a variety of ways. You've seen them win, 36-31. You've seen them win 60-30, you know, and it's been kind of over the course of the season. So they can win multiple ways. They don't have to have everything going their way. They just seem to me like the more scrappy team, and the team that just has that will and that grind that they can pull out any game, even if it's not their best day overall. Whereas I personally feel like Green Bay, you've seen a couple times this season where they have stumbled, and it kind of seems like when things aren't going their way, sometimes it's the snowball effect that takes over for them. So I'm definitely giving the Nighthawks the victory in tonight's game. I think it's going to be a closer game, but I'm seeing something more like in like the high 50s, low 50s, maybe mid 50s to mid 40s. It's going to be a competitive game, but a slightly higher scoring game. And I ultimately, again, I think Vegas does end up pulling it off in the end.
Speaking of Vegas, here's their head coach chiming in. He says, "Oh shit, now we have a good defense. He's drinking the good stuff this morning. Must be an imposter talking. He's got some Baileys in that coffee cup."
It's not. There's a difference from being good and being able to execute when your name is called. The defense makes plays when they have to make plays, especially the D line. So I got a lot of respect. I mean, look, man, those guys on that defense, they really grown throughout the year. Elijah Blades, right? I remember Elijah Blades when he was at Texas A&M, and he got hurt, and that whole situation there, the way they treated him, and everything he's had to overcome. I've been following his career for a while, so watching his progression through the playoffs has been really something special. So I don't know, man. I think the D line makes plays when they need to make plays. That's all I gotta say, man. I don't am I saying they're the best defense of all time? No. In my opinion, our 2021 team would smack Vegas any day of the week. But that's my opinion, right? I'm biased, so
I'm not sure what this comment is referring to. If you wanted to give us a little bit more context, that'd be great. We're going to revisit the betting odds because things might have slid a little bit since we were last on here. Krish last week said, again, bet the under, and I think he picked Vegas. TJ, you said you bet the over, and you also picked Vegas. What do you guys think about this spread? Let's go to TJ first.
I feel like it could have been. Honestly, I feel like Vegas should probably be about. I don't want to go too high, but probably like 5.5 favorites, I'd say. It's a little bit closer than I would have anticipated personally.
I agree. And that's actually what prompted me to bet on the game. Normally I don't, but man, if you're saying that Vegas is only going to win by 2 points and that's what I need to win, I'm pretty confident there's going to be a 2-point gap no matter who wins this game. So I thought that was a little odd myself as well. I would have expected something like maybe 3.5 points. But Krish, what do you think about the spread?
I mean, I'm a sharp, so I don't bet the spread. I bet the money line. So I'm going Vegas money line, man. I think that's a lock, and I think the under the lock. I think the spread should be higher. I think it should be. I would play it to 30 or 4 on the alternate spread if that's an option. So Vegas -3, Vegas -4. The only thing I can't give it a touchdown just because of Andrew Mevis, man. I think he's a cheat code, and I think he'll hit a deuce or two tonight to make the game closer. So it's hard to tease it up to a touchdown.
Absolutely. Andrew Mevis is possibly one of the best kickers indoors right now. So I strongly agree that he is a weapon. And I'm sure our resident special teams coordinator would agree. But with the betting in the rear view, there is one more piece of information for us to discuss as far as the IFL, and that is the news that Northern Arizona defensive coordinator Larry Hendricks has returned to the team for the 2026 season. Krish, what are your thoughts on this one?
I don't have anything against Coach, man. I mean, the reality is the defense ranked 13th in the league. They gave up almost 48 points per game. So I'm kind of surprised to see him back. I'm not going to lie, but I think Coach James wants to keep, some continuity going into 2026. I hope Cy Burley's not bad. I hope he's not bad. I just want to put that out there. But maybe bring in Coach Hendricks. He's a veteran coach. He's been in this game for over 25 years. So him and Coach James, and I think we're not getting a new offensive coordinator next year.
By what metric are you saying they're the 13th defense?
By I believe average points allowed.
You're right. Average points allowed are okay. You're right. 47.3 points allowed. Overall, they were fourth in points allowed with 757 points, and they were fourth, tied for fourth in touchdowns allowed with Quad City, San Diego, below Green Bay actually. So I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, you could make an argument that the defense probably was not the issue. TJ, what are your thoughts on the retention of Coach Larry Hendricks?
Man, I like it. It's a continuity move, and it's last season laying the groundwork. Now this season, let's improve. Let's see that step up, maybe even to a playoff berth. I like it. I like it. And like you alluded to, the defense wasn't all their problem. It was not like they were giving up 90 points week in, week out. They were playing decent. It was the entire team that was just kind of spit and sputtering throughout the year. So I'm looking for a decent improvement from this squad next season.
Yeah, I think if you go back and really look at their offense was the 14th ranked unit when it comes to average points per game with 35.2 points per game. They were ranked last or tied for last with touchdowns, field goals, extra points. The one category that they were off of that last ranking was 2-point conversions. So when you look at the defensive ranking and you look at the points that they allowed, some of that was, first of all, defensive touchdowns from offensive turnovers for Naz, and then also some of that is the fact that they were simply on the field so much. The Naz offense couldn't move the ball as much as they would have liked, and a lot of times they were turning the ball over, whether it was by turnover on downs or missed field goals or what have you. So I do think that factors in a little bit, and I honestly would agree with you, Krish. I would be a little surprised if Burley comes back. I think he's a good coach. I think he can do it. But like I said, I wouldn't be shocked to see him move on because of how poorly they played in 2025. Any final thoughts on anything IFL related before we move on? All right. Well, with that being said, there is one final league we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about, but we aren't going to spend much time talking about, and that's the Champions Football Association. We talked about them a few weeks ago. They had announced that they were bringing to us 9-man football on a slightly larger field, a lot more closely tied to the outdoor game, basically the outdoor game minus a couple or 2 positions as far as offensive lineman on offense, or potentially defensive line and linebacker on defense. So there's a lot of flexibility with that skill set or that rule set, but they finally named their first 2 teams this week, and the 2 teams that were named were the CNY Blue Devils and the Fayetteville Ducks. Like I said, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but just firsthand observations or thoughts on these 2 additions. We'll go to TJ first.
Well, I do like ducks, so that's a positive for me. No, I mean, I think the overall league concept is interesting. It's almost like the reverse of the arena league. They kind of went less people, everything else. You know, this is more mainstream. This is, one more player per side, more basically mimicking pretty much the outdoor league just on a smaller field, but uh for the teams, I mean, Lafayette has had teams in the past, so that's kind of like a returning area for football. But at the same time, I'm looking for more league updates. I'm looking for other team locations, see what the travel's going to be like, things like that. So I don't want to make too big of an assessment of it, but I am excited. I really do hope this does take off and we can actually see it in action, because it does sound like a pretty interesting concept.
I strongly agree about the concept for the league, and then also some of the teams they're bringing in are from guys who've been around, so I think they understand how arena football works. So I'm interested to see their take on this. Krish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so when you say guys who have been around, in what capacity? The CNY Blue Devils are a startup semi-pro team that are operated by two semi-pro guys, AJ Makeover, who has been seen begging for money on Facebook, right? And his partner, who's also been seen begging for money on Facebook for being stuck in places, can't get the tryouts, all this stuff. This league will flop. It'll be a total flop, and it won't work. I'm just letting you know this right now. I'm not excited. I've seen this way too many times. We hype up these leagues, and they're not going to work. So I respect what Patrick Keller's trying to build, but he can kiss his dream goodbye because it's not going to work. We have too many leagues in this industry. I know people are like, oh, leagues, opportunities. Opportunities for who? Opportunities for players who shouldn't even be playing anyway, right? So let's just be real. The AIF is not a real league, right? The AAL2, they're developmental, right? And the CFA, I don't even know what it is. It's not a pro league. It's not. It's not. It's a semi-pro league. So semi-pro football to me, there's only 3-4 real leagues out there. The NAL, AF1, IFL, and TAL. And they all are separated by a good margin, and that's what it is. So I thought it was a fun little idea that he came up with, maybe while he was playing video games or in the backyard with his kids. Oh, this would be a good idea. And then I see the teams he's adding. It's like, these guys can't even afford to play in an arena. They can't even afford money to attend a tryout, let alone run a team. So that's just my opinion. I wish him the best of luck, but don't waste your time, man. Just don't. Just start your own team or be a fan or a sponsor.
Krish is so annoying. Thanks for the comment, man. Real valuable comment there. Appreciate you tuning in to watch how annoying Krish is on Saturday mornings with us.
I appreciate you, man. I'll be annoying outside your house too.
Love it.
Optimism
For the
out
record,
the window.
that's not a threat. He'll literally just come outside and yell your name repeatedly, or just be annoying. But or he'll talk crap on your favorite team until you come outside. He says I was just joking. Okay, that makes more sense.
No, but am I wrong though? Am I wrong about what I was saying? Like, let's just be real. Like, we have too many leagues. Everyone knows this. This is a known fact. There's only 4 legit leagues, and that's it. You can't keep calling something that hasn't even played, like the ENTLFA, right? I watched every interview we did on the channel with their owners, their coaches, right? And I was like, wow, this is a legit league. I almost went to the press conference, right? And then I saw who they were naming as head coach. I'm like, I don't want to go to that crap. But I was like, I was like really excited. Doug Freeman, he seemed like he had a plan, all this stuff. But the league, they just scammed a bunch of cities and didn't even play a game. I mean, they stole money from one of my guys who was supposed to be a trainer for the Massachusetts team, right? They offered to pay him. They had him do all the groundwork, build up the business side too, and didn't even pay him. And now he's in a lawsuit with them. I mean, it's like, I just don't, we give these leagues shine that don't deserve shine, in my opinion. There's 4 real leagues, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. But let's be honest, this show is about covering what's going on in indoor football. We're not necessarily here to tell you any league is, going to be a success or going to be a failure, which we can form opinions based on what we know. And obviously, I would like to think that we're all on this show a little bit more educated with some of the things behind the scenes than some people that are just casual fans of indoor football. But with that being said, I do have a lot of thoughts about the teams that are joining the CFA so far. I just don't know that those are necessarily the organizations you want to start a professional league with. Now, if they come out and they say that, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to build it up for a season or 2 as a semi-professional league and then eventually transition to a paid league, that would make a lot more sense to me. As of right now, I have my doubts about it being a truly professional league that's providing housing and meals and pay to these guys. So it'll be interesting to see how things go as far as that is concerned. There are 4 main leagues. There is no argument about that. I know there are other leagues would like to lay claim to that spot, but the leagues that have been sustainable outside of those 4, they understand where they stand. If you go talk to AJ Roque with the AL2, he will tell you first and foremost, they are not a professional league. They're not trying to be a professional league. They're a developmental league. They parade the guys that sign with these other leagues for a reason. So I think that's why they've been so successful. These other leagues need to, if they're going to come in and do this, they need to stop competing with these other leagues. Come in, do something different. That's why I like the CFA in terms of their format. It's different than another 8-man league, but I think a little contraction on some of these other leagues would be a good thing. Start working together.
And I love the AL, and I think it's a great league, and I think it's a great developmental league. It's a great developmental league for the NAL, and they can continue to develop players and pump players in the NAL, right? The developmental league for the IFL is known as the NCAA, right? So that's the goal for every league, to get to a point where their developmental league can be the NCAA, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that to a certain point. Obviously IFL really leans into the younger players, so you have a good point there. But I think we've covered damn near everything there is to cover this week. Any final thoughts before we get out of here for the day? It's been a 3-hour marathon show, so hopefully you guys are still with us. Hit that like button and go subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. But final thoughts, gentlemen.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for everyone watching, man. Always a great show. Best of luck to the 2 championship teams tonight, man. Enjoy this moment. You only get it once for a lot of guys, man. I mean, to represent the 508, we got Cheesy, Umanakwe on Vegas, and my boy Andre Williams, Boston born. So really, really happy for him, former Pirates practice squad guy, doing his thing in Green Bay. Just remember that the 2021 Massachusetts Pirates and United Bowl champions, man, one of the most dominant teams ever. So put respect on that. Yesterday was our 5-year anniversary of us winning a championship. I remember that like it was yesterday. So I'm excited to see Vegas come out on top and Mike Davis get his championship ring. And I know I'm not going to hear the end of it from him for the entire offseason, but I've accepted it until he gets that belt next year. So let's go Vegas.
Sounds good. TJ, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm so surprised Chris is not a Cowboys fan. Holding up the VHS. The Pirates won. I have footage. No, man. Thanks for everyone for watching. And just remember, the best part about arena and indoor football championships are they're usually played on Saturday, so no work tomorrow.
There you go. That's right. The IFL championship game is on tonight on CBS Sports. Make sure you tune in for that broadcast. And yeah, that was hilarious.
If you're in the Omaha area, go to the Fan Fest today from 3 to 5 at Voodoo Taco. You'll see Coach Negron basically sleeping on the buffet section. We know Coach Negron loves to eat at Voodoo Taco. He has a jersey hanging from the rafters. So definitely go support the Omaha Beef at Voodoo Taco from 3 to 5. Try to have an eat-off with Coach Negron.
Absolutely. UFL Isaac, I don't know of any other team or any other league indoor-wise that's doing a championship. Every other league is basically closed up shop or just starting their season as of right now. So that, to my knowledge, is just the IFL today. Final notes from me. Mike Davis, if you're still listening, my friend, if you could call out Krish on the national broadcast, like in the post-game interview when you're hoisting the trophy, and make sure to say Shady Sports Network, I'd love it. I'd really appreciate it. I'd be your best friend.
And I have more followers than you on Instagram too, so that would get you views as well. I saw you yesterday, Coach Davis, with them fake Air Force Ones that you got from Walmart. So you definitely need my clout, man. Definitely need it.
All right. We should put Negron in a food eating contest, Krish. I agree. On that note, I think we've covered basically everything we could cover this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I always love this show. It's a ton of fun, always laughing, having a good time. And I hope everybody knows, man, like, yes, Krish has some spicy takes and all that stuff and says some off the wall things. But at the end of the day, we don't hope for anybody to fail. We want all of these leagues to succeed. We want them to all do exactly what they're able to, what they say they're going to do, and make it work. And, we don't want anybody to be faced with failure, especially when the coaches and the players that are putting their livelihood on the line to
right, exactly. And I don't want to see anyone fail. It's just sometimes when the Messiah sees the truth, he has to, say the truth to the people. So when my crystal ball tells me something, I'm gonna say how it is. I'm gonna stand on business. So God bless, and I hope every team is successful. Every team can pay their bills. The reality is some won't, most won't, and that's what it is. That's where we're at as an industry. So we just need to continue to grow the right way.
Unfortunately, that's the accurate truth. And on that note, we will catch you guys next Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes we start a little bit late like we did this morning, but we're trying to work on that. But with that note, definitely tune in for the bus stop, which will be kicking off in about 8 minutes. So if you like hip hop, you like music in general, you like football, sports, and stuff like that, join the bus stop. Tune in, check out that show. They talk sports, music, all of it. It's fun. They take fan suggestions to rate songs and stuff like that. So tune in, make sure you guys are liking that show and whatnot. So on that note, we will get out of here. Thank you guys so much for everything this morning. And once again, thank you This Week in Arena Ball for doing those awards. We really appreciate it.